All right, cool. All right, I'm live. Yo, and we are live, man. Cause this is Set with Set and Key Media, and I'm back with another one for y'all. Today we're about to get into Candace Owens' rampage on YouTube at this point. Cause she didn't put up on Piers Morgan, she'd have put up on Aiden Ross, and she shut it down, man. Let's get right into it.
Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. And I'm speaking directly to you, Rabbi Shmuley.
You have the Jewish community beginning to call her not Candace Owens, but Candace Ovens.
People can see and hear evil, and what you are doing right now is an act of evil. We all recognize that Rabbi Shmuley is unhinged.
Wow. Candace Owens never met Michael Jackson. I was his rabbi for 2 years. She said that I killed him, that she would say the Jews killed Michael Jackson. You never said that I threatened to murder you?
No, I never said that you threatened to murder me. Don't cut me off. I did not cut you off.
Now she's fact-checking it? You're kidding me, right? I don't have a computer on me.
The Israeli Defense Force had dropped more bombs on Gaza than were dropped on Dresden. That is true. Do you accept that, Rabbi Shmuley?
You know, Piers, I find this an astonishing debate.
You asked.
Wait. First of all, I don't. Wait. What do you mean it's true? Because she said it's true?
The war in Gaza is barreling towards a grim anniversary. This deadly year, sparked by a terrorist atrocity and met with an often merciless response, has changed the way that many people think about an historic dispute. Never in our lifetimes has there been such active debate about Israel's role in the modern world and whether the United States and its allies should back it. Protests and counter-protests have brought anti-Semitism to the fore, along with the charge that it sometimes insulates Israel from criticism. My next two guests have vivid opinions on these big issues and have had a very public feud. We're bringing them together for what we intend, I hope, to be a proper debate. The topics will be the Israel-Hamas war, anti-Semitism in public life, American involvement in Israel, and Israeli involvement in the United States. And we'll even talk about Michael Jackson, who is relevant to this debate. Both guests will get roughly equal speaking time and a chance to question each other. Speaking of the other guest is not encouraged. Ad hominem attacks are strongly discouraged. But knowing these two as I do,
to go at it. They about to go at
promises. Returning to Uncensored, host of the Candace podcast, Candace Owens, and the author of the Israel Warrior and the Michael Jackson tapes, Rabbi Shmuley. So welcome to both of you.
Not the Michael Jackson
First of all, it's great you're doing this.
And it's kind of crazy that he owned the tapes, but, well, he wrote a book called Michael Jackson's Tapes, but Michael Jackson had him on an enemy list.
You've had a public feud for a couple of years now. You've torn into each other in various forums. This is your chance to take each other on. And at the centre of this, as I said in the intro there, is a very serious global story, which is the Israel-Hamas war and all the complexities that come away from that. I want to give you both the chance to make an opening statement. So, Rabbi Shmuley, you won the toss. We didn't really ask you to toss, but we both agreed you can do this. You go first. Your opening remarks.
Thank you, Piers, for having me, and Candace, thank you for debating me. I have spent my life bringing together the Black and Jewish communities, emphasizing that we share not only a history of shared persecution, but of spiritual promise. Today we debate an American tragedy, a woman of unique eloquence who has abused that eloquence to become simultaneously the foremost anti-Black rhetorician in all of the United States and the foremost anti-Semite in America.
I mean, hold on, the most profound anti-Black? Like, come on now. The KKK members still exist with YouTube now. Come on.
Statements that Candace has made against her own
community.
Make sure you
like the video, man. Let's get the likes up.
Wolf and constantly say that they're victims of racism. Her attacks on George Floyd, a man who was suffocated to death for a $20 counterfeit note saying that he was a horrible human being. A woman who went up in front of CPAC and said, I was never a slave in America, as if that's the only form of discrimination, is what has led her community to call her not Candace, but Clandis. The first ever female Black woman who appears in her rhetoric against blacks, calling LeBron James dumb and stupid, and an icon to the black community,
Bro,
as
she never
Candace.
said that. Now, come on now.
Simultaneously,
That's crazy. She never said that. She never said that. But I know white women who've said that.
you have the Jewish community beginning to call her not Candace Owens, but Candace Owens, because her Gogol-style rhetoric against Jews, that Jews are nearly all pedophiles. The State of Israel has set up a Theodor Herzl, a pedophile, as a haven for pedophiles. That Judaism is a demonic, satanic cult that only protects pedophiles. And by the way, her absolute obsession with Jewish sexuality and Jewish genitalia.
The AIPAC was started. You would think.
First lady of France, Brigitte Macron's genitalia is disturbing. It's one of the reasons I think she hates Sigmund Freud so much, because she's a
Hold on, Brigitte Macron is Jewish? Huh, I did not know that.
Freudian field dream in terms of his arguments that the greater the sexual suppression and repression, the greater we see violence. But when you say that the Jews killed JFK because he was about to ostracize Israel, when you invent all of these fabrications out of whole cloth, what is the result? The result is the demonization of Jews that leads to violence. Piers, just 1 week ago, 2 days after Candace falsely accused me, as she has for 2 years, of being a murderer, of threatening to kill her, something for which she will face legal action, because you cannot malign a rabbi and his daughter as murderers.
She never said they were murderers. She said they was harassers. Like, they were just harassing her. Every time they come out and do something like weird, come out talking about her, slandering her. Yeah, it's damn near harassment at a certain point. By a rabbi at that.
2 days later, I was swatted in my house.
Make sure to like the video, man. Let's get the likes to 10.
Had to break into my house because Mayor Michael Wilds of Englewood, New Jersey, received an email, arguably from one of Candace's followers, after she said essentially what Henry II says: "Who will rid me of this troublesome priest?" which leads directly to the murder of Thomas Becket, who today is a Catholic saint, of course. We were swatted, and the FBI is now investigating Candace's rhetoric. They're investigating
Rabbi Shmuley, I'm interrupting because you've now been speaking for 3 minutes.
One final point.
Yeah, but you don't went on a tangent on
Candace
her, bro.
will get exactly the same amount of time. It's up to you.
Man, we got 6 of y'all in here, man. Let's make sure to double tap that screen and 3 dots up in the corner, man. Let's like the video. Let's spread the conversation. Let's get more people in on it. Appreciate y'all.
It's an opening statement, right? And what I would say...
May I?
Bro spent a solid 3 minutes low-key just going at her neck.
Yeah, I just say finally, if I may?
I'm almost quick.
The biggest issue I have with Candace, to be honest, is that she claims to be a Christian. Candace, didn't Jesus say you're supposed to love your enemies? Is the love you show me that you call me filth twice on the last show that you did with Pierce, a piece of filth? You're supposed to love your enemies. Is that turning the other cheek? And Pierce, you're an English gentleman. I've known you for many years. You allowed her to say that without even a piece of filth. When Jesus said that you're supposed to turn the other cheek, where have you ever turned the other cheek? When Jesus said that the meek shall inherit the earth, the arrogance, the nonstop attack against Jews.
We got 84 y'all in here, man. This is a great start, man. Let's go ahead and double tap that screen and let's get the 3 dots up there. Go ahead and like the video, man. We appreciate your support.
Jews, the demonization. If you are a Christian, then I am the second coming of Christ.
Okay. That's 4 minutes you've spoken to. Out of fairness, Candace, if you want to use 4 minutes to respond, you can. All I would note...
Hey, what's so funny about Candace is every time you see her bite her lips like, She wanted to low-key interrupt. I could see it.
Rabbi Shmuley, is you've spent 4 minutes personally attacking Candace Owens.
No
I set this up as a debate about what is happening with the Israel-Hamas war, anti-Semitism, and so on and so on. You've turned it all completely, immediately, into an ad hominem onslaught against Candace.
How could you possibly say that? You are speaking to a woman who says the Jews are a ring of demonic pedophiles, and you're saying that I have no right to defend my people. You know, Piers, you have to stop this once and for all. There was nothing ad hominem at all.
All right.
When Candace says that the black community
you've had your say.
is a bunch of crybabies, everything I said was policy. I could not disagree more.
I mean, she ain't wrong. When she said the black community low-key be a bunch of crybabies. Now, she didn't say that word for word, but I'll go ahead and I'll say it word for word for y'all. Yeah, the black community, most of us in the black community can be a bunch of crybabies. There you go. It's been said.
Candace will now get the same amount of time, if you want it, Candace, to respond.
Thank you, Piers. And I don't think I really do need to respond to the ad hominem attacks. I think actually one of the things that plausibly unites people across all religions, Muslims, Jews, Christians, is that we all recognize that Rabbi Shmuley is unhinged. He's just mentally, in my view, unwell. And I don't say that as an attack. I say that as just a reality, because I've never seen someone just make things up out of thin air that were never said. And trying to screen that as a defense of Black people. The Black people will never accept Rabbi Shmuley after Michael Jackson put him on a list of people who he felt were ruining his life. So you can stop your pleas with Black America. They won't work. Now, going back to the context of what you've asked us to speak about today, I think one of the things that the world is recognizing and what we've all...
Yes. Rabbi Shmuley was on a list that Michael Jackson kept of a list of, well, I'm going to be real with you, Jewish people who he said was coming after him, who he said was trying to take him out the game. And Rabbi Shmuley was, well, Michael Jackson's rabbi, and he had his name on there.
Always recognize is that there are radical fringe sects that break out within every single religion, amongst every race. There's white supremacy, there's Black supremacy, there's radical Islam, there are all of these Christ cults around the world. And I think right now it's important for people to understand that radical Judaism is also a thing, and you're watching an example of it right now on your screen. The person sitting across from me, or sitting next to me, I guess, it posted on his Facebook page in 2016 a tribute to someone who he said was his mentor. That was Rabbi Menachem Schneerson. He said he was his mentor and his friend. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with Rabbi Schneerson, there were some Jews who believed that he was and is the Messiah. So rejecting Christ, but believing that that rabbi was his Messiah. Now, you may remember in the news recently, there was this radicalized faction of the Lubavitch Orthodox community in Brooklyn that were digging tunnels in Brooklyn and hurling benches at police officers. Well, and by the way, this is per the Times of Israel, that faction of individuals are followers of Rabbi Schneerson. So again, you have...
We got 360 y'all in here, man. Make sure to double tap that screen and let's get us to 20 likes, man. I appreciate the support. Let's go.
Of Rabbi Shmuley, who believes that that's his mentor. They believe that he was the Messiah. What is it that becomes important to understand? What did Rabbi Schneerson preach? Well, he preached Jewish supremacism, the hatred of all non-Jews. And you don't have to take my word for it, because if I said it, they would say that's anti-Semitism. You should instead take the word of the two Jewish professors who translated his work. Those authors' names were Israel Shahak and Norton Mezvinsky, and their book was entitled Jewish Fundamentalism in Israel. From that book, we learned that Shmuley's mentor, Schneerson, describes the difference between a Jew and a non-Jew. And he says, quote, "Thus, we do not have a case of profound change in which a person is merely on a superior level. The body of a Jewish person is of totally different quality from the body of all nations of the world." And he talks about the substance of the Jewish body versus the substance of non-Jews, saying that the inner quality, quote, is so different and so great that the body should be considered completely different species. So that is a belief. And you can go through his speeches and you will see that he continually talks about how non-Jews should be treated, and that, again, we are a different species. This is
like, okay, look, I wouldn't say go ahead and read the Talmud to understand every Jewish perspective, but if you honestly want to understand, like, the mindset of the people she's talking about, the Pacific sect of Judaism, then yeah, you might want to read the Talmud, because it does, well, preach Jewish supremacy. Like, they're of a different breed. It's kind of funny, but they kind of see themselves as the superior race. It's a little bit weird, but hey,
is what Rabbi Shmuley believes in. We have to come to terms with the fact that there are Jewish radicals, and it's incumbent upon the Jewish community to call them out. I'm glad that you brought up my rhetoric about Black Lives Matter, the organization, and which was basically allowing Black criminals to take to the street to burn down, to loot, and to riot in the name of racism, because it shows that I'm on equal footing here, that across the board, I do not support supremacism, whether it's coming from my community or whether or not it is coming from yours. And I think the entire world is now paying attention and wondering, what is going on in Israel? What is this government? Is this a radical fringe government? And many people are concluding that the answer to that question is yes.
Okay. Those are the two opening statements.
Yeah, ever since this whole Israel-Hamas thing done popped off, it's been a bright-ass light that's been shined on Jewish supremacy. Like, we're now shining a whole light on the Jewish religion, going like, all right, well, why y'all doing this? Why do y'all think like this? Because there's some people in this country, in Israel, that low-key thinks they're all on the right. Like, yeah, F the children of Palestine, just bomb them all, we'll just move in and forget it. There's people who literally think that. Not all of them, but there are some who are kind of wondering, well, what's all the vitriol for? Let me know.
Rabbi Shmuley, let me ask you this.
Make sure you get the likes up, man. Let's get it to 30 likes.
We now with this war? Because it seems that the people inside Israel are now beginning to come after Prime Minister Netanyahu, angry that his mission to save the hostages is simply not working. We saw 6 more executed at the weekend. Obviously, that's on Hamas. But the relatives of other hostages are saying, for God's sake, bring back the hostages before it's too late. And there's no sign of any deal being done to do that. And there's a lot of pressure on Netanyahu. Is his mission statement failing?
Well, to be real with you.
Yes, I will answer that.
Benjamin Netanyahu's whole, presidency, if you would say, is failing. Like, he was about to get brought up on corruption charges. Then, oh, lucky him, you know, Israel-Hamas conflicts pops off, and now, oh, he's still in office, making all these calls, coming to America, telling us that we're going to give him money and all that good stuff. It kind of seems to work out for this guy.
In just a moment, but Piers,
Worked out a little
your
too
guest
well.
just called me mentally unhinged. She called me filth twice on your show. You did not just say to her, Candace, can you stop the ad hominem attacks? Did I ever say anything? I stuck to policy. Can you at least just be fair and say that's unnecessary, Candace, or is this too against
Well,
law?
no.
Why are you always trying
You
to
spent
shame
4
her?
minutes lacerating her.
Calling
Very
me
personal.
mentally unhinged, is that
You're sitting there to
mentally
defend
unhinged?
that charge.
Is that ad hominem?
You spent 4 minutes attacking her personally.
Yeah, Pierce is being pretty damn fair. He's like, look, you attacked her personally. I ain't say nothing. So if she attacks you personally, guess what? I'm not saying nothing. Like, if y'all want to go ahead and go for the tit for tat, cool. But don't go over there talking crazy. And when she talk crazy to you back, you want to be, oh, check her. It's like, nah, G, check yourself.
She's perfectly
You know,
entitled
Piers,
to
with all
return
due
the
respect,
favour.
when one of your guests calls someone else filth, I think that you, as an English gentleman, should step in. But let me answer your question. No less, the only thing of Christ
Hey, what's up,
that
Glitch?
Candace Owens has
Appreciate you.
actually fulfilled comes from Matthew chapter 10, verse 35, where Jesus says, I've come to separate and create conflict between a woman and her mother-in-law and father-in-law. My answer to your question about Gaza is that Lord Michael Pharma, a courageous British peer, who happens to be Candace Owens' father-in-law, issued one of the most robust and beautiful defenses of Israel that any of us have read since October 7th. He said that, of course, there's a lot of terrible Palestinian casualties. God loves every Palestinian child as much as he loves a Jewish child. He said that Israel has no choice but to fight this war because Hamas hides in residential areas and under nurseries. He said that Israel, the savagery...
I'm low-key getting tired of that. It's like, oh, Hamas hides in nurseries and all that. I'm like, that's not an excuse to go blow up the nursery with the kid in it. It's not. I don't know who needs to tell y'all that, but maybe I would seem less cowardly if the IDF was to go in there, put boots on the ground of Gaza and surgically remove these Hamas members. We're talking about civilians. So if you're telling me if you're afraid of civilians too, then just be honest. Just go ahead and say that, oh yeah, everybody in Gaza is Hamas. We're going to take them all out. Be honest. Don't go and bomb a whole bunch of kids and women and talk about, oh, well, there was one or maybe a couple Hamas there. Like, no, that's unacceptable. If you know there's a couple of Hamas there, but a whole bunch of women and children, go ahead and get your soldiers, walk on feet, and go in there and remove them surgically.
of October 7th demands a response. He said that Israel is doing exactly the right thing. And he said that he's doing all this in response to a, quote, high-profile member of his family. The attempt to not even mention his daughter-in-law, Candace Owens, because he didn't want to say her name. And he didn't even say, I love my daughter-in-law, but because the British remember Hitler, they remember the Battle of Britain, they remember the V-1 and V-2 rockets. Candace Owens has actually now said that the Nazis were the good guys and it was the allies, the British, people like yourself, Piers, who engaged in the ethnic cleansing of 12 million people based on some documentary she watched called The Savage Peace on the BBC.
Well, now, look, there's been many of documentaries that honestly, well, they didn't really call the Nazis the good guys. There was one that called the Nazis the good guy, and that's the documentary that shall not be named. Then there's the one that painted them as the bad guys, but still brought up the point that, well, after Germany put down the arms and all that, y'all came in and y'all start slaughtering them. Yes, y'all start ethnically slaughtering Germans. Actually, there was a whole propaganda campaign to demonize the German people. Well, coming out of Jewish media, Jewish-owned media. I'll just be real with you.
BBC, which
I'll just
wasn't
keep it
even
a buck
about
with
the
you,
Allies.
okay?
She always distorts. It was about the Czechoslovakia, a country that no longer even exists. And as far as what she said about Michael Jackson, putting me on enemies list, that is a total fabrication. It was invented by someone named Dieter Wietzner, who sued Michael Jackson for $64 million, tried to shake him down, and Michael had to pay him $4 million. I worked to save Michael's life. Candace Owens never met Michael Jackson. I was his rabbi for 2 years. I love him. I missed him. I tried to get him off of drugs. She said that I killed him.
Michael Jackson wasn't on drugs. He was having problems sleeping. So they induced him with drugs. If you look up how Michael Jackson died, he died of propofol overdose. Propofol is I ain't gonna lie, one hell of a drug, a heavy ass drug, right there with morphine really, that they use to put patients to sleep who are in incredible pain or who just can't sleep for whatever reason. Like, you give them anything and it just won't go. Michael Jackson was one of those poor people who low-key couldn't sleep. And he had some type of pain that would keep him up from sleeping. So they hit him with the propofol. He wasn't on drugs. He was being prescribed drugs. There's a difference.
And talk about the contempt for people struggling with addiction, that she would say the Jews killed Michael Jackson. And with all due respect, Piers, you have not said that one of those things, that I'm a murderer, a man who doesn't have a speeding ticket, who doesn't have a parking ticket, is a murderer, and the police have to come and the FBI to protect me.
Because, bro, when we all think about drug, we think, oh, he was on crack cocaine and all that good stuff. I'm like, yeah, no, he wasn't. He was on a medical drug, not a street drug, medical. So when he said, I was trying to get him off drugs, I'm like, no, you weren't, because the doctor prescribed him those drugs. So Lord knows you weren't trying to get him off that.
Are you going to say...
And notice how he's not trying to say what drugs he was
once
on,
again,
he'll get sued.
You've just singularly failed to answer my question. So if you're just going to continue, every time I ask you a question about the war, which is the point of the debate, to just launch into Candace or her family or whatever, that's your decision. But in the interest of fairness, every time you speak for 3-4 minutes, well, hang on. I'm now going to let Candace respond. If you want to, Candace, look, it is obviously a matter of public record that your father-in-law, Lord Pharma, did post on X what he posted. He concluded by saying, I point out I'm the Christian Deputy Chair of the Council for Christians and Jews. This was founded in 1942 as a bulwark against anti-Semitism. I mean, do you want to say anything about what your father-in-law posted or anything else that Rabbi Shmuley just said?
Yeah, I'm grateful that he brought that up, and because it's very disturbing to me to see him try to pretend that my father-in-law distanced from me or said something in favor of anything that Rabbi Shmuley is saying. He would never do that. It is very important to understand that, he does support Israel, and he has reaffirmed his support for Israel. And you can imagine that within any family, you have disagreements about things, but fundamentally, it's all love, and it's good for us to have these conversations. Prior to him posting the statement, I had just gotten back from vacation with him. Literally 48 hours earlier, there was something incredibly demonic about a person trying to use the Bible at the beginning of a statement, as he did, trying to quote scripture and immediately following it up by trying to pull a family apart. I mean, that is utterly unholy. And I think the question of holiness and what is holy is relevant to this discussion. I think this is a conversation that a lot of people are having as well. Look, prior to October 7th, I don't think many people were engaged with what is happening in Israel. We kind of all said the same thing. Israel is our friend and ally. I count myself among those people. Post October 7th, the world, and especially I would say Zionists in media, were demanding that we all pay attention. And when we began to pay attention, we didn't like what we saw. You cannot.
Hey, we got 1,100 of y'all in here, man. Make sure to like the video, man. Go ahead and double tap that screen or 3 dots up there in the corner, man. Let's get us to 100 likes for the stream, man. Appreciate y'all for tuning in.
Not tell me to ever feel comfortable with 18,000 children being ruthlessly murdered. You can't get me to feel comfortable as a Christian with the amount of more explosives dropped, tons of explosives dropped on Gaza than were dropped in Hiroshima. this doesn't make sense to me. Gaza is 30 miles long, 7 miles wide. It's incredibly dense population. And this is, by the way, according to Haaretz, that 40,000 Palestinians have been murdered. I believe they're getting those numbers from the Gaza Health Ministry. And here's what I would like to say to you, Rabbi, since you're quoting scripture, okay? The one that's relevant to me is, woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light.
And here's the thing, Candace ain't never really do nothing to Rabbi Shmuley, but he done went on a full assault on her. If you really want to be real, this man started it as soon as Candace started questioning Israel, which it is kind of funny. Like, she lost her job at the Daily Wire and he still went crazy on her. It's like, this man does not take no breaks. So now that they're filing this debate and Candace is going off on her, man, it's a coming to Jesus moment. Like, man, let's go.
Light and light for darkness. And if you'd like to dive into a little more scripture, I think what's relevant is Revelation 3:9. Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. And I'm speaking directly to you, Rabbi Shmuley.
Ooh, man. He said directly to you. I like that. Anyway, though, if you have any questions or comments you want to super chat in, man, just send in $1 up and go ahead and read it out loud on the chat, man. We appreciate the support, man. Let's get right back to it. Like I said, let's get us to 100 likes, man. Double tap that screen for me.
The fact that you would try to say, I am Jewish and this is what I believe, and do and say the things that you are doing. People can see and hear evil, and what you are doing right now is an act of evil. The lies that you are telling, not just on me, but also on my family members, are a good example for the world to see what we are referring to when we call something radical Zionism.
Okay, Rabbi Shmuley.
Okay, and okay, thank you. And of course, Piers.
Yeah, I would consider that radical Zionism. It's like, all right, dog. So Israel can do no wrong. You being a Zionist and being aligned with Israel is okay. It's whatever. But you having extreme alliance to Israel where they could do no wrong, yeah, that's where we kind of have a problem. We're kind of like, yeah, G, you may want to chill out a little bit. Like, and you're in America. It's like, come on, where's your America first? Where's that America first attitude?
There was nothing ad hominem about my being demonic. This is a 2 against 1 debate. I expected that. And
it's not a 2 against 1 debate.
And I will, excuse me, no, it's a 2 against 1
You've
debate.
You've made no attempt to answer my question.
No. Piers,
Candace,
let me speak.
Candace has been trying to answer my question.
Candace just said,
bro, only through ad hominem.
You're not.
Candace just said, Candace, filth, demonic. There's nothing ad hominem about that. You are correct. You're right, Piers. Candace Owens just said that Israel dropped more bombs on Gaza than on Hiroshima. Hiroshima was an atomic bomb, Candace. Why don't you just read Wikipedia? Israel has nuclear weapons. They've never used them, so I have no idea what you're
talking. It's actually funny because, well, back in the 60s, Israel wasn't supposed to have any nuclear weapons, but somehow they found themselves with a nuclear weapon. Actually, I remember JFK specifically saying that, yeah, we don't want y'all with nuclear weapons, and they were creating these, well, let's just say they were creating the space to make nuclear weapons, and JFK ain't like that.
Talking about.
So it's a bit funny how they got it off today when they weren't supposed
justified defense. Israel admits,
90 years ago.
Israel admits, and even Hamas admits, to a 1-to-1 civilian to combatant ratio of civilian casualties, which is a tragedy. It shouldn't even be 1. But remember, Hamas fires their rockets from nurseries. The United States and Afghanistan had a 4-to-1 ratio of civilians murdered for.
Even if that's true, you don't blow up the nursery. Even if that's true, don't blow up the nursery now.
Everyone combatant.
That don't make it look too good.
In the Korean War, it was 5-to-1. In Iraq, it was at least 2-to-1. Israel has the lowest per capita ratio of combatants to civilians. Candace should acknowledge that. That is what we call a fact.
But you should also, hang on. You should also acknowledge then that there is a unique demographic in Gaza where of the 2 million people who live there, half of them are under 18. So that's a very different demographic to any of the other scenarios you're talking about. That is what's caused so much.
Oh, and like I said, if you got any questions or comments or any jokes you want read out loud to the stream, man, go ahead and super chat $1 plus or go ahead and read it out loud. We got over 1,000 y'all in here, so make sure to double tap that screen. Let's get us to 80 likes, man. Appreciate y'all.
International opprobrium against Israel is the fact that so many children, pro rata in the civilian death count, have been killed. It's that people are so exercised about, rightly,
wild.
Because
you can't tell people to go somewhere and bomb them.
Hamas, yes, they've embedded themselves in civilian territory. Yes, they've built all these tunnels. None of these things are to be disputed. But the problem with going after Hamas in the way that Israel has been doing is that the collateral damage, as they would put it, to so many thousands of children has now tested the patience of the world to a degree that vast quantities of the world are against it and want this to stop. That's the reality.
I think that's a very fair question. You know, and I don't like whataboutism. But Candace Owens never spoke out once against Bashar al-Assad, who killed 600,000 Arabs, and he actually gassed to death children. He targeted them with mustard and poison gas. You remember that President Obama said that's a red line, and then he gave it to Putin to get rid of those weapons of mass destruction. God bless President Trump, who actually, wait, just a second. President Trump, God bless him, actually fired 59 cruise missiles when Assad did that. It's funny because people say that President Trump is anti-Muslim. He's the only one who protected Muslim life. Piers, Hamas has ruled since 2006. They wanted.
Hey man, go ahead and super chat your opinions on Israel and this Israel and Hamas conflict. Just $1 and up to get it read out loud, and we'll go ahead and we'll damn near have a little conversation about it. Appreciate the support. If not, man, go ahead and double tap that screen, man, and give us a like, man. We love the support either way.
Election jointly with the PA. They took the Palestinian Authority representatives and threw them off of rooftops. They then subjected the Palestinians, 1.5 million Palestinians of Gaza, to the most ruthless persecution that we've ever seen. They stole all their money. Ismail Haniyeh, who was assassinated in Tehran, is worth $4 billion. Now he's fighting with Erdogan, his kids, over who's going to inherit that. Khalid Mashal is worth $3 billion. You and I both know that the Palestinians of Gaza got triple the amount per capita, prorated for our times, of the Marshall Plan. All of that money was stolen to build tunnels. There isn't one bomb shelter. The reason why people are dying in Gaza is because that money was used.
Yo, anybody else in the chat seen these tunnels? This elaborate highway tunnel, this elaborate highway underground tunnel system that they got. Anybody seen that? Because I ain't seen it yet. I just think it's an excuse to start bombing, you know, buildings and all that. Because they say, oh, well, there's a tunnel. I'm like, okay, cool. There's a tunnel in the building. How do you blowing up that building get to the tunnel? If anything, it just closes the entrance to the tunnel so y'all can't get inside this tunnel.
Used to buy penthouses in Doha, Qatar. There isn't one bomb shelter that from Hamas. Hamas shoots and murders anyone who challenges their authority. They were elected in 2006 to a 4-year term. It's now 20 years later. Hamas specifically, and that's why they're being condemned by the Palestinians right now. They want Palestinian children to die because the more they die, the more you will condemn me and Israel. But let's remember, Piers, your parents are part of the greatest generation. Winston Churchill was told by the Americans, don't bomb German cities, Hamburg, Dresden, etc. at night. You can't see what you're bombing. Do what we Americans have, which is precision daytime bombing. And Churchill said, no, my pilots are more important. We need the RAF.
All right.
And he flattened German cities. And he is considered today the greatest British statesman of the 20th century.
Think about it like this. If they have tunnels, then why are they still bombing buildings? No, make that make sense. Cool. They got the tunnel. They know where they are. They know Hamas is hiding in these tunnels specifically. Why are they still bombing citizens? Like, you can't make that make sense. But like I said, make sure to like the video. You have any questions or comments, you want to go ahead and super chat in. It's $1 and up, and we'll go ahead and read it out loud to, well, over 1,000 of y'all, man. Appreciate y'all.
By the way, the flattening of cities like Dresden was widely condemned at the time, including by many people in Britain, and led to the establishment of the Geneva Convention.
Dresden was Dresden was the last month of the war, but before that, Hamburg and everything else was not condemned.
It led to the establishment of the Geneva Convention after World War II, specifically to stop that kind of thing happening again. So I'm glad you raised that example. Candace, you've got over 3 minutes.
So do you condemn Winston Churchill as a war criminal for Dresden?
No, absolutely not. No.
Why not? You just said that it was wrong.
I was
Winston Churchill as a war criminal for Dresden. Please, you said not, but why?
If you're both going to ask me the same question, let me be clear. Winston Churchill was not a war criminal, right? But some of the ways that
why not? He bombed Dresden and killed 25,000 people.
Yeah, he also saved the world from Adolf Hitler and the Nazis.
Oh, he saved the world. So Israel's saving the Middle East from Hamas, Islamic Jihad, Iran.
But it's not, though.
Hezbollah.
Israel's not doing that.
Thank you for answering my question. Well, case closed.
All right, let me go to Candace.
If I could just interject here, just to respond to that, I was going to say exactly what you said, Piers. Like, Dresden was considered a Holocaust. It was, in fact, a war crime. And there should be debates about what happened in Dresden. It was absolutely horrific that a bunch of Christians were skipping off, on the eve of Ash Wednesday, and then they were quite literally reduced to ashes. It is wrong. And the fact that you are having to reference a war crime to justify what's happening in Gaza is not a point for you.
Hold on, man. There's some truth going on in the chat, though, and all that good stuff. Yeah, okay, I looked it up, though. They have tunnels, but it still don't rationalize why they're bombing buildings and kids. Like, it don't rationalize it. And anyway, though, like I said, though, if you have any information you want to share or anything like that, man, go ahead and super chat it in. We'll read it out loud, or go ahead and educate the rest of the chat, man. Come on.
It's completely awful.
If not,
when people say, oh, well, look at what we did. Look at all these other horrific things we did. Why do you care about this horrible thing that's happening? I don't even understand that logic. It's completely ridiculous. Look, there is no person in good conscience who should be comfortable with the amount of death that's happening in Gaza. And yes, if you are going to correlate it to Dresden, that would be a fair comparison, except much more has been dropped on Gaza than was dropped in Dresden. So is it fair to call what's happening in Gaza a Holocaust? Is that what we're looking after when you have this nonstop onslaught? And it's completely ridiculous to say, oh, well, this is happening because
like I said, if they didn't want it to be painted as a genocide, then y'all just need to stop bombing them. Stop bombing them, go in there by foot, round up all the civilians, and take out a mosque. That's all you got to do. Like, bro, but, if you want to try to take out a people and you don't even want to have to deal with them, then yeah, just go ahead and just drop bombs on them all day and just say, oh, it's Hamas, Hamas, Hamas. I took out like 80 civilians into a mosque. Come on now.
Of Hamas. Let's be very clear. It is happening because the Israeli government will not stop bombing them. Okay. So you had a very sympathetic audience all around the world, myself included, when October 7th happened. There was not a single person that should or could justify the terrorist acts that was enacted by Hamas. But the collective punishment that is being assigned to the Gazans, the Palestinians living in Gaza, is also unacceptable, and the entire world should condemn it, and it should be made to stop. And I do believe that a radical fringe has taken hold of Israel. And further evidence of that, by the way, is that we are not even allowed to critique Israel without having people like Rabbi Shmuley, which I never said he threatened to murder me, but he has threatened me for 2 years.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. Anybody who says that, well, Israel's low-key committing a genocide, like I said, there is no excuse. There is no excuse. Okay, like I said, y'all know they have tunnels, but you still can't rationalize why they can't put feet on ground. What is the IDF cowards? Are they so cowardly that they just gotta bomb civilians to get these Hamas soldiers? Are they that scared? Are they that cowardly? Because it's making them look like genocidal cowards at this point. Because just put feet on the ground, go in there, surgically remove Hamas, round up the citizens, and let that be that. If y'all brave soldiers, if y'all brave Jews like y'all proclaim y'all are. Come on now, because it's making the IDF look like a bunch of cowards if you just can't put feet on ground on these people already. Stop bombing them.
Essentially trying to bully people into their belief that they have a right.
You never said that I threatened to murder you? We're going to post
No, I never said that you threatened to murder me. Don't cut me off. I did not cut you off.
Okay, I will not cut you off. Go ahead, please.
I did not cut you off, okay? The point is that now what's happening across America is that you have Zionist organizations that are threatening and bullying people.
I'm gonna be real with you. Not that I don't read the comments, is that I don't care. I've done the research. I've read enough. Like, gee, sorry, I don't care about your misinformation or whatever you think. Sorry. That don't hurt my feeling. It only hurts yours.
Because people are taking a stance against this act against humanity. What they're doing is inhumane in Palestine. And so what they're doing is they're saying this person should get fired. This person should lose their job. The Zionist Federation of Australia just asked for me to have my visa banned,
which is wild,
simply because I don't support what Israel is doing.
And it was a group of, the Brimless, a group of Jews pretty much said that, yeah, we're going to go ahead and revoke Candace's, what was it? She's going to Australia. She's supposed to do a tour in Australia, and a group of Jews in Australia pretty much said, nope, you ain't getting that off. You stay your ass right there. And I hope they got that refund. I hope everybody who bought it has a refund. I was like, damn, the vitriol for this young lady is crazy. Like, y'all trying to stop her money everywhere. But, that's what they do when you piss them off.
If that is what I have to pay, if ultimately what happens, I get my visa banned because Zionism has a lot of money in media, then so be it. It's less of a price than the children in Gaza are paying right now. And as a Christian, I will never support what Bibi Netanyahu is doing.
Right, and what's interesting to me, Rabbi Shmuley,
may I respond?
hang on,
May I respond?
Yes, but let me just say again the question I put to you earlier. It's not just people outside Israel.
And like I said, if you got any questions, comments, you want read out loud to the chat, go ahead and super chat it in if you feel that strongly about it. Hey, it's either you support the show or you just want to go ahead and spread your message. I don't care. But if not, go ahead and like that video, man. Let's spread the conversation.
Who are now heavily criticizing Netanyahu and his government. It is people inside Israel in massive numbers. And so my question for you is, why? Why are so many people inside Israel taking to the streets to demand that Netanyahu stop this war?
No, they never said he should stop the war. They said there should be a ceasefire to release the hostages because Israel is a cult. Don't interrupt me, please, Candace. Because Israel is a culture of life. And that's why Israel got into this mess for October 7th. They traded 1,000 murderers, including Yahya Sinwar, who Israel saved at Soroka Hospital in Beersheba when he had a brain tumor. The Hamas Hitler, who's the architect of October 7th, Israel saved his life. It's a culture of life, even for Palestinian murderers. They traded 1,000 for Gilad Shalit. You remember that. And now a whole group is saying, even if it leads to another October 7th, I need my children home. I understand that. Piers, I have 2 sons fighting in this war. I understand the dangers that are being faced. No one's saying to stop the war, not to destroy Hamas. They're saying, call a ceasefire to release the hostages because of their execution. But I must respond. First of all, Candace just said that Israel dropped more bombs on Gaza than on Dresden. What's your source for that?
Well,
do you know that?
I mean, dog, it's not really what's your source. It's kind of, well, it's kind of rational. It's kind of logical. Like, yeah, y'all had more days to bomb these people. So, of course, you dropped more bombs in Dresden. Dresden was just like a 1 or 2 day operation. They went there, boom, one day and did what they did. Y'all been doing this for about, well, damn near a year now.
Dresden, there were 1,000 Lancaster bombers.
We got to give Israel that grace, though. We can't say, oh, it's just like Dresden. Come on now. Dresden wasn't no 11-month type of ordeal. It was one day. We're dealing with this span of 11 months. Yes, they've dropped more bombs than Dresden, of course.
And over 2 nights by Churchill, and then 800 American, that's 1,800 bombs. What's your source that Israel dropped more than on Dresden?
So it's just interesting because you realize that you use Dresden as an example.
No. Answer the question. You just made Piers. This is the question.
I said more tons of explosives.
You said that Israel. You just made a blood libel against the Jewish state. Dresden was 1,000 Lancaster bombers over 2 nights. I am asking you, what is your source? The answer. Okay, don't interrupt me, please. The answer is Piers. It's my turn. Piers,
Rabbi Shmuley, you can't ask
sorry.
someone a question and then refuse to let them answer.
So I asked for a source. I didn't ask for a question.
Go ahead.
It is
We've heard the
absolutely
question.
absurd.
Candace.
I'm going to respond to what you are saying. This tactic of when anybody brings up anything that Israel is doing is wrong, you get to just scream blood libel and anti-Semitism.
Don't interrupt.
Oh my gosh, it's a blood libel. It is not a blood libel to talk about the amount of death and the tons of explosives that have been dropped on the civilians in Palestine, okay? That is not a blood libel against Jewish people. This is such a nasty and perverted tactic, which essentially says, I don't have to debate anymore because I get to just call everybody a person who's accusing me of blood libels. Okay, truly, what is happening right now is that the blood of Palestinians is being shed. Okay, that is not a libel against the Jews. That is a fact and a reality against Bibi Netanyahu and this government, which has gone extreme in their response to October 7th. So stop this tactic.
Understood. Piers, can I now have my turn again? All I asked was the source. Clearly, she has none. It was invented out of whole cloth. That's what a blood libel is. A blood libel is when Candace Owens says that the actual medieval blood libel, that Jews killed Christians and drank their blood, she actually believes that. She said, please don't interrupt me. She actually says that there were Christian bodies found all over Europe. When she said that I am not trying to kill her, we will post right after this, where she said it at least on 8 occasions. That's why she's being investigated by the FBI. Because you can lie about me, you can call me filth, and Piers won't, and you can call me psychotic. I've never said that about you. But what you can't do is incite
Yes, you
violence
did. Yes, you
against my
did.
family. You have repeatedly said I'm trying to kill you. You said the Jews killed JFK. You said if the Jews killed
All right,
JFK,
you said all this
and we
earlier.
couldn't protect the president. Okay, wait 1 second.
Now, she didn't say that Jews killed JFK. She said that, well, Mossad has something to do with JFK's, well, assassination. That's all she said. She didn't put the whole state of Israel. She just put the CIA. I mean, I'm sorry, well, Israel's version of the CIA, the Mossad. Like, come on now. You can't put everything on America when we have our own little CIA group that goes out there and does whatever they want. Like, you can't put everything on us at that point.
1 second.
Can we get
Just
back
like
to
we
the
can't put
debate?
that all on Israel.
No, wait. Let's just go back for a moment. No, Piers, I have to respond to things.
Would you like a
when
source?
Candace says that it is when Candace says it is demonic.
You wanted
to
the source from Candace.
I never got.
You
I
wanted
never, I never got between.
Rabbi Shmuley, you wanted the source from Candace.
You
I
will-
think she's.
you will
I
not
think
let
she
me
has
speak.
one. Well, why don't you let her answer? I think she has one.
Let me fact check this source as well. So 70,000
Yes, I want to see where Israel
Let
dropped
her
more
answer,
bombs
please.
on Gaza than Dresden. Go
70,000
ahead.
tons of explosive have been dropped on the Gaza Strip. Let's see
And
how many
Dresden?
tons of explosives were dropped on Dresden. 1 second.
You mean she said it and now she's fact checking it? You're kidding.
We got 1,500 y'all in here, man. Make sure to like the video, man. Let's get us to 150 likes. Appreciate the support, man. Really do. And like I said, if you have any questions or comments you want read out loud or a poll made, just send in $1 plus super chat and I got you. If not, man, just like the video. Man, let's get on with the show. Let's go.
Me, right?
Well, you're
I mean,
asking
she
me to
said
give
a
you the direct
definitive
source
statement,
live, and I'm
now
going
she
to
is-
look it up for you.
I
So
don't,
give me
I don't
1
have, I
second.
don't have a computer on me. I don't have a
think
computer
that-
on me. This is ridiculous.
Let her finish
This is a cheat
and
sheet.
answer the
This is
question.
absurd.
Let her answer the question.
Oh, she
ahead.
hasn't been able to answer nothing.
Candace.
So 2,700 tons of bombs were dropped on Dresden in an 800 bomber air raid. And that is according to Britannica.
Man, and shout out to Greg Borbonus. And he said, my last chat message with a $5 super chat. Hey, we appreciate you anyway, big dog. Appreciate you. You go ahead and have a good night.
The encyclopedia.
And what
as
was
a
the
source.
tonnage of bombs dropped in Gaza?
In Gaza, it was 70,000 tons of explosives were dropped in the Gaza Strip, and I got that from CNN.
Through the duration of the war to date?
Okay.
Is that the timescale?
Yes.
Okay, so Rabbi Shmuley,
which
that would
they're
seem to
saying
be-
has surpassed
So
the
let's be clear. Let's be
Dresden,
clear. So
Hamburg,
over
and
11
London during
months,
World
she's
War II.
comparing an 11-month war to a single night in Dresden. That's clearly absurd. I'm glad that she has her cheat sheet, her computer in front of her. But notice, she made this.
No. The argument was, though, like I said, hey, I kind of agree with his stance on it. But the argument was, who dropped more bombs, Israel or Churchill? And in this conflict, Israel dropped more bombs.
did a blood libel.
Not knowing what she was talking
What
about.
she
Just a moment,
said,
please.
hang on. What she said, to be clear, was that the Israeli...
It's also in the New York Times.
The Israeli Defense Force had dropped more bombs.
Oh, you need to be a little
on
bit more
Gaza
respectful, my friend.
Than were dropped on Dresden. That is true. Do you accept that, Rabbi Shmuley?
You know, Pierce. I find
Would you
this an
accept it?
astonishing debate.
You asked.
Wait,
asked for the proof.
Wait. First
Do
of
you
all,
accept that's
first of all, I don't. Wait. What do you mean it's true? Because she said it's true?
No, do you accept
you
that's
have fact
true?
checkers?
The New York
is this,
Times
is this,
says it's
Is this
true.
a serious show? Wait. Every time I
You
try to
asked
speak,
for a source. You
stop
called
me.
it a blood libel. You asked for a source. Fortunately, we had time to look it up.
Excuse me, you are interrupting me. She made a definitive statement. She admitted she had no source. She had to then use her computer. It's absurd that she
didn't
has
say
a
I had no
computer
source.
during
I
this
just said I
debate.
had to look it up.
right.
Because she had to look it up. 1 second.
But she was
Now
right.
she's saying that over an 11-month war. No, we don't know that she's right because your fact checkers haven't checked it, and my fact checkers haven't checked it. But let's just go back for a moment. Israel was attacked in the most savage way, and women were gang raped, their breasts were cut off. Candace recently had a guest on who even denies that women were raped. Now she's saying it's in the New York Times. She said the other day that the New York Times lied and fabricated about the mass rape of women. She had the former press secretary of Bernie Sanders who denies that. Now she suddenly likes the New York Times. You are speaking to the number one critic of the New York Times in America. And by the way, this is a typical thing. Candace will say there's no racism in America. Then she will sue, which she did.
Hold on, G. Hold on. It's kind of crazy how you kind of flipped it right there. It's like you told her to prove it. She went out there and gave you some sources, 2 sources, which was New York Times and Britannia, and you ain't believe it. You just attacked the New York Times and said, nah, I don't trust them. I'm like, bruh, then who will you trust? Like, give me a list of news organizations you trust, list the websites you trust, and we can just try to find it on there then. Let's just go ahead and get the BS out the way.
The Stanford, Connecticut Board of Education for $40,000 settlement against racism. She then went on a show and fabricated and said it wasn't a settlement, it was actually for tutors for 1 month. You tell me which tutors are paid $40,000 per month. She will say that I have no right to bring up her family. First of all, I didn't. It was her own father-in-law who condemned her. But she can bring up Brigitte Macron.
Bro, you brought
she
up
can
her
bring
dad.
up Emmanuel. She can destroy their marriage.
Father-in-law.
Obsess, and you were very good on that, Piers, challenging her. She can destroy other people's marriages.
Bro,
and you know what's also
But
interesting?
hang on.
The day after,
Hang on.
wait.
Don't just
The day
keep
after-
talking.
One final point. The day after
Go ahead, crash out,
October
bro.
7th, she said nothing for a few days, never condemned it.
Yeah.
And when you asked her on the show, she said, Pierce, I never
Go ahead,
talk
crash
about
out,
anything
Rabbi,
international.
crash out.
Is Brigitte Macron an American?
But
so
you
she can
just-
speak about the genitals
Okay.
of the First Lady
Yes,
of France
I've
for
already
months,
said-
but
I've
not
already
condemn
said-
the gang rape
Yes.
of Jewish women?
I've already said to Candace, I don't believe a word of the Brigitte Macron thing. What I would say about what you've just quoted
Thank you.
Lord Pharma as saying, you said that he condemned Candace in the statement he put on X. He didn't condemn her. I've just read it again. And there's no condemnation of his daughter-in-law. He simply set
You're
out
kidding.
his,
Read the first line. Read the first line.
Nah, he just wanted to state his opinions. He's like, you know, let me state my opinions because, you know, my daughter-in-law going kind of crazy right now. And I may disagree with her, but it is what it is. It's like, bro, stop acting like we can't have disagreements in our families and be still cool. Like, bro, my parents are Harrison Waltz. They want to vote for them. I think it's crazy, but they're still my parents. Still love them to death. It's like, bro, just because we have a different in political views or different views on how things should work out don't mean we still can't have love for each other. Like, what are you talking about?
The first line,
public
please.
comments from a high-profile member of my family. I want to put my own views on anti-Semitism and Israel's current military campaign in Gaza on public record. Where's the condemnation?
Thank you very
of
much.
Candace?
Thank you.
Hey, man, shout out Sarah Hamad. Man, don't let anyone convince you that it started on the 7th. And she's right. Really, Sarah, it all started on in the 1890s where the Rothschilds bought Palestine. But as time went on, it started actually on 1948 when I believe the EU made Israel a country. Yes, they made Israel a whole country. So it was 1948. It's not like Israel was here since the beginning of time. No, it was here in 1948. And then from that time till now, there's been plenty of conflicts going on between the Jews and Palestinians. Plenty of times. It didn't all pop off on the 7th. Like I said, a lot of people have snapshotted this whole conflict on the 7th when you really need to go back and snapshot it on 1948 when they actually went there and actually kicked these people out their homes and caused the mass migration of Palestinians. But, you know, appreciate the super chat, man. I really appreciate that. Oh, man, hold on, bro. Shout out Jake Peters, big dog, man. Proud supporter of the show, man. I see you getting I see you getting your numbers up. Hey, man, appreciate you, Jake Peters. No, hey, bro, I'm about to hit you up, though, because we do need to get some information and all that good stuff. Appreciate you. Once again, appreciate Sarah and Jake Peters. Let's go.
Thank you. So let's get the timeline. Candace says she was on vacation
Where did he condemn
with her
her?
father-in-law 2 days before. Wait,
Where
just one
did he
second.
condemn her?
You and I can read between the lines on any press
I'm
statement.
not reading between the
Number one,
lines.
she says, in
You
view
said
of a,
he
in
condemned
view of a
her.
high profile.
I've just shown you he didn't
Okay,
condemn her.
he absolutely condemned her.
No, he didn't.
He doesn't once say it's my
He gave his
daughter-in-law
own
Candace,
opinion.
and I love her, but we disagree. Number two, he went on to say that Israel
Shout out
has
Sarah, 'cause
every right.
she's
He was
spitting right now.
distancing himself for her repulsive, putrid,
he gave his own
reptilian
opinion.
anti-Semitism.
He gave his own opinion.
And shout out Sarah. Peep what she put in the chat. A lot of y'all don't know that. A lot of y'all do not know the constant conflicts that led up to this. And I'm gonna be real with you, where Israel was the over-dominating abuser. Well, because one, they have a stronger army. Two, they got, funding from us. And they kind of just used that to put their foot on the Palestinians' necks. It is what it is, though.
Why did he start by saying, in light of a high-profile member of my family?
He gave his own opinion. He didn't condemn her. I didn't even name her.
He distanced himself from Candace Owens.
Let me ask Candace a different question, which is this. Candace, why is it, do you think, that so many people in the Jewish community believe that you are.
Hey, man, appreciate Jake Peters coming in with another $4.99 super chat. Man, basically the 5, man, we appreciate you. We get big dollars, young here. we get big dollars, young here, man. I have to read it like that. We get dollars here. Appreciate
Anti-Semitic.
I think that's actually a very good question. And just to go back, I'm going to answer your question. I just want to make sure people are recognizing, because he said a lot of stuff there, he's not able to counter. He essentially tried to hold me to looking up the sources. We've now found the sources, and it's the BBC, it's the New York Times, and it is the Euromed Human Rights
We
Monitor.
have found no sources, and we'll fact check it afterward. You looked it up during the show. I'm sorry.
70,000 tons of bombs were dropped on Gaza, and per the BBC, the British aircraft dropped 4,000 tons of bombs on Dresden. So just for clarity,
in a single night, not 11.
70,000 versus 4,000. I know, dog. It's a bit hard, but she got you on that point. Like I said, it is a bit wild to compare an 11-month bombing campaign to a one-day one. It's a bit crazy, but hey, the facts are the facts. Israel, y'all drop more bombs in Dresden.
Blood
in a
libel,
single
and
night, correct.
Please don't cut me off. I have not cut you off.
I might have killed almost around more people.
He called that a blood libel because that is a strategy, which is meant to just distract people from the truth or looking into it. So you say everything you say is a blood libel. Now, to answer your question, Piers, I think that's a very good question. And the answer for that is because the media as an entity has been basically mining Jewish pain, the history of their pain, by taking people out of context and presenting things that are as a fact that is simply untrue, things that I've never said. We are watching right now, and that's why I'm grateful for you to provide this opportunity. You are watching Rabbi Shmuley do this live, right? When we talk about yellow journalism and people that take things out of context and try to present it to people with a bunch of hysteria and go, oh my gosh, Candace said this. Oh my gosh, Candace is a Holocaust denier. Man. Oh my gosh, he's called me all of these names, and he doesn't have a single fact in there. They just know that if they say those things, it's a trigger. It is reminiscent of exactly what was done for Black Americans for a very long time. They have now since changed their perspective on me, but for a long time they thought that I legitimately hated being Black and hated the color of my skin because I stood against Black Lives Matter as an organization, and I stood against what Black Lives Matter was doing. And the media made them hysterical. She's a Black person who doesn't even want to be Black, and she's a Black white supremacist. They bought that narrative because when the media lies, a lot of people accept that what they're reading is true. But of course, I didn't hate Black Americans. I didn't hate anything other than BLM abusing and mining Black pain, going back and saying, well, it's going to be just like slavery to distract people from what was ultimately just a fraudulent organization that was actually going to bring more harms to Black Americans in the end. And that's how I feel about the state.
Nope, too late. You already did it. I ain't gonna lie. Yeah, Black Lives Matters already caused more harm to Black people in the end. There's been statistics that because of the BLM riots, cops stopped pulling over Black people. And I know you're thinking like, woo, what you mean? I can speed around on the highway, woo, and then you crash. Yeah, then you crash and then you die because a cop didn't pull your ass over. And that's actually what happened. There was a 40% increase in Black male vehicular deaths. Yes, car crashes because of this George Floyd situation. There's also other things, but let's be real. The man died of fentanyl overdose. He died of a drug overdose, okay? I'm just going to say it. Hey, man, Jake Peters, bro. Candace for president, man. Shout out, though. Hey, she is of age. She's 35 plus. She's an American citizen. Yeah, she can do it.
Israel and everything they're doing. Ultimately, I believe it's going to yield more anti-Semitism. It's going to make people associate what Bibi Netanyahu is doing to all Jews around the world. And so I think it's important for them to realize it's these same exact tactics of manipulation, the same exact name calling and ad hominem attacks that is not based in fact and not based in reality, but based in not wanting to answer the fair critiques that people have about what Israel is doing. But that's a very good question.
Okay, Rabbi Shmuley, I mean, there's some validity to that argument, I think, is that too often I do see people immediately branded anti-Semitic if they dare to criticize the Israeli government. But there's a very big difference between criticizing a government and its actions and a whole people, which is what anti-Semitism is. And do you accept that difference?
The beauty of Israel is it's a democracy. You just said that hundreds of thousands of people are marching against Benjamin Netanyahu. I welcome those protests. It shows that even during war, listen, in 1864, the United States had a presidential election. Some people wanted to cancel it, saying that how could you elect Lincoln when there's a civil war? And they still had the election. Israel's the same. Let's just go through Candace Owens' history of anti-Semitism that is utterly unconnected.
I will let you do that. I will let you do that. and she can respond. But on my specific point, though, do you accept that it's perfectly possible,
Piers, man.
and indeed it should be in a robust democratic society, a central tenet of this, that Israel's government and its prime minister...
Like you, a grown-ass man, low-key trying to, like, lash out on a woman like this is crazy as hell. I'm glad Piers stopped it. Like, look, I ain't gonna let you do that, okay? Come on, bro. You've been lashing out against a woman as a man like this, dog. No, it's a bit unmanly, but okay.
Should be criticized by anyone who chooses to criticize them, without the people who criticize them being branded anti-Semitic.
Of course. I am a very close friend of Netanyahu, and I criticize him allowing Qatar. Qatar is one of the most duplicitous, evil governments in the world. They house all of the leaders, the billionaire leaders of Hamas. I criticize Benjamin Netanyahu, my dear friend, for allowing money to go into Hamas in the belief that they could be bought off. I criticize the Israeli government for not recognizing the Armenian genocide, something that Candace Owens blames the Jews. She actually says that Kamala Harris was led by the Jews to the Armenian genocide. By the way, the Armenian genocide took place under the Ottoman Turks, not Kemal Ataturk. She has no sense of history, and she just fabricates constantly.
Okay,
but let's just look for one moment.
Okay, on the specific
wait, 1 second. But let's just go through her history of anti-Semitism, please.
Yes, you said you had specifics of Candace Owens being
I will. Yes,
anti-Semitic. What are those examples?
Okay.
Because we all know about anti-Semitism now. It's the ever-evolving definition, so it could evolve into whatever the current Jewish person you're debating against want to make it, or whatever pro-Israel Zionist you're debating want to make it. So it's damn near a talking point that you can't defeat because it's an ever-evolving definition, according to these rabbis.
You see, the Jewish community did not want
wild as hell, but it is
to be anti-Semitic. This is actually a tragedy that a woman gifted by God with such eloquence has decided to become a purveyor of hate. And when she said in 2018 that she has no issue with Hitler because if he was a nationalist, but then he wanted to go beyond her borders, even then we didn't call her an anti-Semite. That's an absurd thing to say, that you had no issue with Hitler. Hitler, even domestically by then, had enacted all the Nuremberg laws. There was already the November 9th, 1938 pogrom.
Hang on. Just to clarify, let's take these one at a time. What do you believe she said about Adolf Hitler in the clip you're talking about?
She said that there was no issue with Hitler except for the fact that he went beyond his borders. If he was a nationalist,
well, let's play the clip.
Let me play the clip. But my point is, no one called her.
In the interest of fairness, I'm going to play the clip so that viewers who've never heard it can hear what actually got said.
And you're going to see why you try to stop the playing of that clip. Watch. Because it's damn near disgusting.
I agree. I actually don't have any problems at all with the word nationalism. I think that it gets the definition gets poisoned by elitists that actually want globalism. Globalism is what I don't want. So when you think about, whenever we say nationalism, the first thing people think about, at least in America, is Hitler. He was a National Socialist, but if Hitler just wanted to make Germany great and have things run well, okay, fine. The problem is that he had dreams outside of Germany. He wanted to globalize. He wanted everybody to be German, everybody to be speaking German, everybody to look a different way. That's not, to me, that's not nationalism. So in thinking about how it could go bad down the line, I don't really have an issue with nationalism. I really don't. I think that it's okay. It's important to retain your country's identity and to make sure that what's happening here, which I think is incredibly worrisome in terms of the decrease in the birth rate that we're seeing in the UK, is what you kind of want to avoid. So I don't have I have no problems with nationalism. It's globalism that I try to avoid.
Hey.
So Candace, on that specific point, would you say that Rabbi Shmuley has categorized it correctly or not?
No, obviously not.
He's just open.
Man, hold on, bro. And shout out Jake Peters, man. All I see with this interview is someone trying to create confusion and division amongst our people. Facts, Jake Peters, man. Because, well, I see it too. It's like, bro, he literally came on there and tried to paint her. Oh, she's anti-black, anti-Israel, anti-Jew. She's anti-everything. She's unhinged. It's like, bro, come on now, chill. She can't be all of that, man. You got to pick one and stick to it. Like, and it'd have been better if you'd have just picked anti-black. You'd probably be able to sell that one better than the whole anti-Jewish thing, because she just started this. I ain't gonna lie, she been on our ass for a good minute. Damn near the start of her career, she been on black people's ass. And I remember niggas was damn near talking about, look, bro, I'm glad, man, she talking about them Israel, man, people, because, woo, she done chilled out on us. But either way, though, here's the problem. She was right. She's right about this, and she's kind of right about the other side too. And shout out to Gray, man, with the $10 super chat, bro. We appreciate you, man. First time super chatter. The queen is right, especially in this debate. Oh, gosh, she is, though. She cooked. She literally cooked this man.
Lying, and that's why he didn't want you to play the clip. I was in the UK, by the way.
Like,
I was at the Royal Automobile Club. There were Jewish journalists in the room, and nothing was written about it until months later when somebody was working on a hit piece about me. I was answering a question when they were saying, how can we just embrace the word nationalism when it sort of has this dirty feel? And I was just essentially saying that I actually don't have an issue with nationalism. I think it's totally fine to be a British nationalist, to be an American nationalist. And the problem is that it's wrongly attributed. That word, I think people instantly associate it with Adolf Hitler. And I would argue that he wasn't actually a nationalist because obviously he invaded Poland and he went beyond German borders. I didn't even mention Jewish people. I didn't mention the Holocaust. And suddenly you have people like Rabbi Shmuley who are...
I don't know. What's wrong with being nationalist? Like, what's wrong with nationalism? I never understood that. Like, once you understand the definition of nationalism, I was like... All right, hold on. Why are we vilifying white people for being that? Like, shouldn't they want to be that? Shouldn't everybody in America want to be a nationalist at a certain point?
Pretending that I got up there and I defended Adolf Hitler. It's just, this isn't
that is not business. What you said.
And this is why I say,
we just watched
right now, please don't cut me off. Please do not cut me off. A huge issue that you have right now is this dishonesty. If you really want to understand why Israel is facing a PR crisis, why Zionism right now to people doesn't feel good and they don't want to associate themselves with it, is because it seems like it takes so many lies to maintain. There's no reason to misrepresent what I said and to tell people that I support Adolf Hitler, other than the fact that you want people to hate me. And so I'm deeply appreciative of the fact that you guys had that clip ready to go.
Well, you may respond to what she just said and to that clip. Now you've watched it.
Okay. You know, she keeps on saying lying. I never said you shouldn't play the clip. I'm actually happy you did. She said if Hitler had only focused on domestic policy, she would have had no issue with him. His domestic policy was to... The Kristallnacht burned down 3,000 synagogues in a single night domestically. That was not in Poland. That was not in Czechoslovakia. His domestic policy was the 1934 Nuremberg laws. His domestic policy was a complete dictatorship where he destroyed the Bundestag and subjected and created Dachau under Himmler. So those are the historical facts. Now but what I said was, even then, the Jewish community gave her a pass. She explained it. One mistake, people make mistakes. Here's her history of anti-Semitism. She's not going to be barred from going into Australia because of anything she said about Israel. That is a fabrication. She's going to be barred. Australia is my wife's country, born in Sydney. She's going to be barred to go to Australia because she's a Holocaust denier. Because
but there were Jewish groups in Australia that put it out first, though. Like, they're the ones who petitioned the whole thing to make sure Candace Owens can't get a visa. It was a Jewish group. So as much as you kind of want to say, oh, no, it's not us, I'm like, nah, you can look it up. It was y'all. The least you could do is be honest and just be like, yeah, because we think you an anti-Semite and want, but damn, it's like she can't be right about nothing. Nothing, G. Come on now. Everything that came out this woman's mouth, either it be truth or just a little bit iffy, it's a lie. Like, bro, to Rabbi Shmuley, Candace cannot tell not one truth. Bro, Candace can say 2 + 2 is 4, and apparently that's going to be a lie to Rabbi Shmuley.
A 100-year-old victim of Yosef Mengele, the angel of death's experiments, came forward and said, you are going to traumatize me all over again. She actually said that Mengele's experiments, the 4th worst person in Nazi Germany after Hitler, Himmler, Goebbels, Mengele, it was a fabrication. She's an out-and-out Holocaust denier. And Australia, God bless them, took in so many survivors after the war, including my wife's family from Slovakia.
Well, let me ask Candace Owens now.
Wait, she said that the Mengele experiments were false. Go ahead.
Let me ask Candace Owens now 2 things. One, are you a Holocaust denier, or do you accept that 6 million Jews were killed by the Nazis in the Holocaust? And secondly, do you believe that Joseph Mengele did what he is reported to have done?
Now, there's some wild things I've heard. Now, personally, for YouTube reasons, we have to go. I probably shouldn't say this, but yeah, there's people who do deny the Holocaust. And there's people who deny that it ever happened, which is absolutely wild. And then there's people who denied how it actually happened. So, they thought that, a lot of people just, like, the Nazis were just mass killing the Jews. And that's the original story. But then if you go ask other people, they'll say something a little different. It's a little crazy what they say. Man. Shout out Jake Peters, man, coming through with another $5 super chat, big dog. I believe the rabbi's number one objective is to create misinformation in order to roll it into a narrative of Candace Owens being some form of bigot. And that's facts. That's what I'm saying. It's facts. Because, oh, she's anti-black, she's anti-Jewish, she's all this, all of a sudden. Next thing you know, she's going to be anti-white, and she's married to a white man. I'm just like, come on. Yeah, they already pushes she's anti-black, and she's a whole black woman. Like, what else? What else, man? Next thing you know, she's going to be anti-kids, and she got 3 of them.
Since World War II ended.
Man, appreciate you, Jake Peters.
Thank you for those questions. No, absolutely. I am not a Holocaust denier. This is, again, another fabrication based off of a monologue that I did in which I was putting pressure on the American government to explain why.
And Malachi 82, man. Hey, I just seen you in a minute, big dog. Shoot, appreciate the super chat, man. BLM would have succeeded if it had pure intentions to unite the black unit. Instead, it failed. Y'all got Black State Farm Jake. Blackface and criminals. Huh? Blackfaces and criminals? The bro, I go, that was funny as hell. But nah, for real. Yeah, we got played. Bro, they raised $80 million. 3 fat black gay women raised $80 million, and what they do? Spend it on themselves, some cribs, cars, and one of their baby daddies. That's what happened. That's what happened with that $80 million they raised. And they didn't do nothing for the black community. Actually, and you know what they did? They supported trans agendas. They supported a whole bunch of gay and trans, organizations. We're going to call them, yeah, gay and trans organizations. They supported them more than they put money into the black community. Go look it up. Go look at where they put their donations at. I guarantee you ain't nowhere black, but it's everywhere gay.
It is a fact that we learned all of these things about the horrific things that Nazi scientists did. And to be clear, Piers, I did not even mention Joseph Mengelé's name in this skit at all. I spoke about all the things that we learned, that we were told over the years, some of which ended up being rebutted. And, there were tons of, that part doesn't matter. The point is, the end conclusion of that is that the CIA, via an operation known as Operation Paperclip, took the Nazi scientists and brought them to America, where they continued horrific experiments on Americans. That's the full context of that. So they pulled out a statement, one sentence where I said, we've heard all of these sorts of things that they've done, cut people in half, sewed them back together. And I said, that sounds like a ridiculous waste of time. And when you pull that clip up by itself, it sounds like I'm just diminishing all of these stories.
All right, yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, they got more black faces in commercials and more representation. That's it? No reparations? Bro, let's be real, man. We already know they ain't trying to give us them reparations, bro. I keep trying to tell my FBA brethren that I'm like, dog, they ain't trying to give it to us. Then like, hey, unless y'all are trying to literally do an insurrection for it, then trust me, you're not getting it. And then the problem is, you want it out taxpayer money. So not only is you stepping on white people's feet, but you're stepping on the Asians, the Indians, the Hispanics, the other races. Like, you think everybody gonna let us get that off? Like, you gotta think about that in common sense. Do you think they're all just gonna let us get that off?
When in reality, I'm saying, let's take everything at face value. Let's say everything we've ever heard was true. Why on earth would the American government acquiesce to bringing these scientists over to America? And as a fact, Dr. Mengelé was not one of the scientists which was brought over to America. So
but just to be clear, you accept, hang on, I'll come to you, Rabbi Shmuley. To be clear, you accept the Nazis murdered 6 million Jews in the Holocaust?
Yeah, I have never once in any of my appearances
I'm just asking you to clarify
denied the Holocaust atrocities. Ever.
And you accept that Joseph Mengele was a despicable man who...
Now, y'all have to go on our Rumble to get our true opinions on the whole World War II, okay? We did a whole we ran a whole documentary on it. 11-part documentary on it. Go to our Rumble. You can go look at it, man. It's going to be lit.
Perpetrated horrendous crimes, including experimenting on Jewish people when they were still alive.
All of the scientists, the Nazi experiments that were done were horrific. And that's why I was saying they were so horrific that it makes you go, why on earth would the American government in this clandestine operation bring over the Nazi scientists who then became a part of our CIA and continued experiments onto America through to the 60s and the 70s. And I was quoting what those experiments were that was done throughout the Korean War.
Rabbi Shmuley, your response.
And I read it.
After this debate, we will post every single clip That was a complete and utter fabrication. What she said was that she doubts that any of this happened because it was, as she just said, a waste of time. The whole Holocaust was a waste of time. Hitler had no winter equipment for his soldiers in Stalingrad under General Paulus in 1942 because the boxcars were taking Jews to Auschwitz. You see, that is what hatred is, Candace. It's where you hate so much that it becomes self-destructive. It's what's happening to you. You're a very gifted, eloquent broadcaster. You are self-destructing before America's eyes because you have some issue with the Jews, not with Israel. So let me continue. You actually said that Theodore Herzl was a Frankist. By the way, when you attack Frankists as a bunch of Jewish pedophiles, you forget to mention they all became part of your religion. They all converted in 1757 to Catholicism. You always omit that. But you said that Theodore Herzl was a Frankist, and you said he set up the state of Israel as a refuge for pedophiles. This is before Gaza. This is before Rafah, as a refuge for Jewish pedophiles. You always refer to Jews as pedophiles. It's the main word you use about Jews. And every historian knows that what began in Norwich in 1099 with the first blood libel, where the Jews were falsely accused of taking a Christian child and drinking his blood, you actually believe that. You said that Christian bodies, this is before Rafah, this is before Israel, that Christian bodies were found all over Europe. And when you speak about pedophilia, you know, it's funny, you just converted to Catholicism. In 2002, Pope John Paul II, a pope that you would probably like. He was very conservative. He was a great man, great friend of the Jewish community, recognized the state of Israel, sent an ambassador in 1994. He apologized, very frail, to the world Catholic community, saying that at least 2% of all Catholic priests were pedophiles. Later, Pope Benedict XVI apologized again. I met Pope Benedict, a great man, great friend of the Jewish community. He said it was 4%. Then Pope Francis raised it probably even higher, 6%. We know 1 million people, almost 1 million people, children in France alone, according to the French government, were abused by Catholic priests. But you've never once condemned Catholic pedophilia. Everyone knows it was the biggest scandal in the world. But only the Jews are pedophiles. Is that anti-Semitism?
I think we're talking about how, like, you know, how AIPAC started. We're talking about that situation right there where some Jewish dude, raped a little girl, try to blame it on a black man. He owned a pencil factory. They found out that he did it, and AIPAC was started just to save this man and send his ass to Israel. Here's the thing, though. Bro, the people broke in to the jail just to get that man out, and they strung him up. We'll just leave it at that.
Let me ask Candace, do you condemn paedophiles in the Catholic Church, Christian paedophiles?
Yeah, he's just lying again. Actually, on my show, I spoke extensively about Frankism, and I told people that there was a conversion into the Catholic faith. And one of the things that I believe is that all of the Abrahamic religions have been infiltrated by Satanists, and that is what I've said. So they've decided to pull apart only the piece where I'm talking about Judaism and not where I'm speaking about all of the faiths having been infiltrated, and speaking about how it's important for everyone to recognize this so that you can realize that there is this sort of satanic cult that's operating within all of the faiths. And I think that they use Christians and they use Jews and Muslims as well. I've said that on my show multiple times, so he's just absolutely lying about that. I think the difference here is that you'd be hard pressed to find a Catholic that would in any capacity defend pedophilia. Now, regarding what he is saying that I said Judaism is filled with pedophiles, that is objectively nonsense. I am a Christian. I'm aware of what the first 5 books of my Bible are. That would be me insinuating that, the first 5 books of my Bible are inspired by pedophilia. That's absolutely false. What I said, and I'm hopeful that this is something that the rabbi will agree with, is that it is a fact that...
and if you're more of a vertical watcher, man, just go ahead and head over on our Rumble. You can go ahead and watch this on the horizontal side, man. Appreciate the support. Make sure to like the video, man. We got 2,000 y'all in here, man. Let's get us to 300 likes, and make sure to like and subscribe. And any question or comment you want read out loud, just $1 and up, we'll go ahead and read it out loud to the chat. Appreciate it. Let's get back
that
to it.
Jewish pedophiles, American Jewish pedophiles, escape and run and hide in Israel, where they are given safe harbor by the government. That is a fact. They will not extradite our pedophiles. That is an absolute nonsense, given the many billions of dollars that we give to Israel, that we can't get back the men that are raping children, okay? And I can't imagine a single person that would think otherwise, that is not a nonsense and that we should not be giving back those pedophiles. And to be clear, it wasn't Candace Owens who researched and came up with this. It was an incredible Jewish organization that looked into this, talked about how wrong it was, and brought it into the mainstream media. If you don't like that Israel is harboring pedophiles, that's not on me. That is on the state of Israel. Okay, again,
She said,
I
"I
am
gotta get
condemning
off
the
my
state
head."
of Israel for harboring American pedophiles and not extraditing them. Do you have a disagreement there, Rabbi? If so, please share.
Thank you, Candace. Not only is that an absolute lie and fabrication against Israel, the most famous example,
Damn.
the country that will now bar you from entering because you're a Holocaust denier, not because of Israel, because a 100-year-old
Bro.
experimentee of Mengele came forward
But she just said she believes in it. What do you mean?
and said, "Do not subject me to this trauma."
She's
and the
just made it
Interior
crystal
Minister
clear
of
she
Australia
doesn't
said,
deny the
Australia said, "Wait,
Holocaust."
what's it?"
Well, she just said it.
No, but she denies
You can't call
Mengele's
someone a
experiments,
Holocaust
and that's
denier
not,
when they've literally
that's
just said
not,
6 million Jews got killed in the Holocaust.
Wait.
That's not Holocaust
Wait
denial.
a second. Come on,
it's
come
not,
on,
is it?
Come on, Piers. You're more subtle than that.
It's not about
You
being
can say
subtle,
that
it's
6
about you
million
literally
Jews
just
died.
heard
You
her
can say
say
that. You can say.
she believes
Of
the
course, you could be a
Holocaust
Holocaust denier. Why don't you let me answer, please? You could say that 6 million Jews were accidentally bombed by Curtis LeMay and by bomber Harris,
She
and
didn't
they
say
weren't,
that.
and there was no Zyklon B. She said that Mengele did not do those experiments. By the way, this is not my decision.
even mention
This is the
Mengele's
government
name.
of Australia that is barring her. Please don't interrupt me, Candace. The most famous
Just don't
example
lie.
in Australia
Try
of
not
a
to
Jewish
lie.
pedophile. Please don't interrupt me. The most famous example
lady.
of a Jewish pedophile was a woman named Malka Laufer. She was a religious woman from Melbourne, Australia, and she apparently abused 74 children. She ran to Israel. She was prosecuted by Israel, extradited. She is in Australia being prosecuted right now. This is a total fabrication. And it comes down to what Candace has the most unhealthy obsession with Jewish sexuality. Notice that we all know that the Vatican, of course, took cardinals, like the Cardinal Archbishop of Boston, and gave them the highest positions in the Vatican. She has never criticized that. Only Israel. Now, Candace, let me ask you a point-blank question. Did you say that Theodor Herzl, you said he was a Frankist or descended from Frankists? Again, Frankists all became Catholic. He was Jewish. Did you say that Theodor...
Remember, she did say Frankists all hide in all religions. So she didn't say Jewish religion. She said Muslim, Christian, Catholics. She's saying she damn near gave an excuse for, the pedo Catholic priests. She's like, oh no, they weren't actually Catholic. They were Frankists who were pretending to be Catholic priests. It's like, oh, okay. Now, I don't know if y'all want to fully believe that, but I guess it's a decent excuse.
Theodor Herzl set up Israel as a haven for Jewish pedophiles?
Okay, first
Yes,
and foremost, I
yes, it
just
is.
want to debunk your claim that what I said was a lie.
Yes, and Rabbi Shmuley and his daughter do sell sex toys. Yes, they sell adult entertainment toys, corn toys, things you use in the bedroom. Well, for the freaky people in the chat, things you'd use in the bedroom. Some of us a little bit more vanilla.
Is in CBS News, and it was the Jewish Community Watch, an American organization that tracks accused pedophiles, who has been trying for years to find a specific pedophile. They are the ones that brought this to the forefront, and CBS News partnered with them.
What's the name of the pedophile? What's the name of that pedophile? I just gave you a name, Malka Laufer. What's the name of that pedophile?
Well, they were tracking down
You
a
don't
pedophile
know, do you?
named Karo.
Now let's go.
Bro, she was just about to say it. Bro, chill, bro. Somebody need to calm this man down, because even Piers got a mad look on his face. It's like, bro, look how you're conducting yourself as a man towards a woman, though. Towards a woman. I can understand if this was two men coming up here like this, okay, but bro, the fact that you're doing this to a woman is a little crazy. It's like, come on, bro. Why are you getting so big with her? Like, would you get big with her husband like that? I hope not.
Now let's go to the Vatican.
Karo.
How many people they allowed? How many cardinal archbishops were protected?
Please don't cut me off. Please don't cut me off.
Okay.
You told a lie, and so I'm debunking it live for you. The pedophile they were tracking down.
What's the name of the pedophile they're looking for? What's the name?
Could you say it?
I'm trying to say it for the third time. His name is Jimmy Julius Caro.
You're looking it up right now? You mean you said all this and you had no idea?
The title of the article in CBS News is entitled, How Jewish American Pedophiles Hide from Justice in Israel. CBS News teamed up with a Jewish organization and came to this conclusion because they were the ones that brought it to the forefront. So courageous Jewish people who are
Do we
calling
really
this out
need
as
someone
something
to
that is
read
wrong.
off the internet
Jewish
in a
Community
debate?
Watch
This is
is
not
the
your
name
show.
of
This
the
is a debate.
organization.
I'm weak.
I am
Did
debunking
you
You
say
just
that?
asked for the information. Damn, she can't pull up something. Like, you tell me if y'all ask me something, oh, bro,
She wanted to fact check
Yeah, like go ahead and fact check it real quick. Okay, cool. I'll go ahead and bro, go straight to Google like this and be like, all right, cool, man. Which website you want, man? Come on. Like, you want right-leaning, left-leaning, moderate? I got you. Want Wall Street Journal, Fox News, CNN? Come on, I got you. But, bro, come on now. It's fair. It's fair.
Theodore Herzl created the state of... No, Piers, did she say that Theodore Herzl set up Israel?
We are getting too obsessionally sidetracked into pedophilia.
No. This is one critical thing. Did she say that Theodore Herzl set up Israel as a haven for pedophiles?
I want to end. We've got to end the debate, and I want to end the debate by giving you both this opportunity. Right? You are both religious people. Right? Every religion purports to be peace-loving. Right? Religions are supposed to spread peace and harmony and love and respect and kindness.
And
whether you're a Catholic, as I am, as Candace is, whether you're a Jew, as you are, Rabbi Shmuley. So I'm going to ask you both, and I'll start with you, Candace, to say something nice about...
Nah, I ain't gonna lie, not Jewish people, but religious people are supposed to be about, peace, happiness, and coming closer to God. But these days, it kind of seems like they're about, like, supremacy, having that superiority complex, because they feel like they're closer to God than you, like, ha, 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 type of thing. And it kind of turns a lot of people off. But
Rabbi Shmuley, be a Christian. What would you say?
Yeah, I
no problem,
actually
Pamela.
deeply appreciate Rabbi Shmuley having a platform. It's not something that I've ever said I want his platform stripped away, because I think that he does more in terms of revealing what it is that I'm speaking about when I'm talking about radicalism than anybody else. And so in that way, I'm grateful that he has a platform, and I would never call for him to be banned from anywhere. I hope he gets a megaphone, and
Oh, man, and shout out, man. We just hit 10,000 subscribers, man. Yep, that is 10K subscribers, man, here at S.E.T Media. We appreciate y'all's support. Let's get back into it, man. It's been a long one, but we here.
As a human being,
watching his behavior today.
Do you see any saving grace as a human being?
I think I will pray for him. I will pray for his conversion into Christianity. I don't think it's normal to lie like that and feel nothing, but he continues to do it. He's filing FBI reports against me over pizza. I don't have any hatred in my heart towards Rabbi Shmuley. I really don't. And like I've said, I hope he forever has a platform, because I think that it showcases to the world what it is that I'm speaking about when we speak about radical Zionism. Okay, Rabbi Shmuley, do you want to say something nice about Candace Owens?
Absolutely. She is gifted by God with incredible eloquence. I think she can repent and cease being a force for hatred against...
Yes, you must repent and come to Israel and kiss the wall. Yeah, as they all do.
The black community who call her Candace, who have rejected her utterly.
Man,
she is one of the most despised women in America by the black community. She is doing a whole new tour to be reaccepted. I think she can use her eloquence to apologize.
You, Malachi.
Instead, she essentially hinted that the only reason she attacked the black community for the past 4 years, calling them stupid and dumb and can't vote for themselves and cry wolf and racism, was because she was forced to do so at the Daily Wire. I call it the Daily Liar. Maybe that's correct, but I think she should take personal responsibility. Saying that Israel was created as a haven for Jewish pedophiles by Theodore Herzl is not the way she's going to repent. Saying that she defends Kanye West when he says he loves Hitler. Hitler killed 10,000 Jews a day, 3 9/11s a day for 4 years, between 1941 and 1945.
I think we know
wait 1 second, please.
No,
Piers.
I know the greatest hits are coming. It's fine.
Like we know where this is going, bro.
But
you
wanted to speak.
Say something nice.
You said I think she could.
He can't, bro. He just can't do it. It's not within him. Okay.
I think she could use.
That's how we started this.
I think she could use her eloquence to repent. That's all. And I think finally, that if Candace could just come forward and admit that as a Christian, Jesus said clearly that you cannot approach him except through the Jews. He said that the Jews are the root and Christians are the branch. The fact that we in the community consider her the #1 anti-Semite in America means that she cannot relate to Jesus. So I'm saying become a Christian. That's a very nice thing to say. The fact that Jesus said, I am sent only to the lost sheep of Israel. Come and learn about the Jewish Jesus. You know what, Candace? I'll give you a free copy of my book, Kosher Jesus. It teaches you about the Jewish Jesus, the meek shall inherit the earth, love your enemies, turn the other cheek. Don't say, and stop calling me a killer. Stop saying I'm trying to kill you. You've said it over and over again. You are saying what Henry II said, rid me of this troublesome priest.
I think we've established you're struggling to find anything nice to say.
It is almost funny at that point. I start cracking up too. I'll just be like, damn, okay. It's like, okay, man. I get it. Yeah, it's F Candace. Okay, I get it, Rabbi.
Say about Candace, but I appreciate you both coming on together for this debate. I think it's been very illuminating, and thank you for doing it. Thank you for being uncensored.
Man. All right. So now let's get to the next one. Candace Owens and Aiden Ross finally get an interview in there, man. Let's go ahead and get into it, man. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Let's keep it going.
Oh, hi, Candace.
Damn.
What's up?
It's a pleasure to meet you.
Very nice to meet you. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Let me know if that's too loud for y'all, chat.
I mean, it's been busy, man. 3 kids under 3 years old. It's just been wild. A crazy year already, but blessed.
Wait, how is that possible? Wait, 3 kids under 3? Wait.
And a shout out Jake Peters, man. He's like, that man's energy is extremely evil. That man's energy is extremely evil. I ain't gonna lie to you. That's how I read it, G, because that man is evil. I'm like, bro, she ain't never said she tried to kill that, bro. She ain't never, bro. All she did was just say, yo, why y'all coming at me so hard? That's a valid question in my eyes. Yeah, why are y'all coming at this young lady so hard? Y'all only putting more eyes on her that you're trying to take away from her.
I had a kid every year for 3 years.
Have the
I was
opposite
just like
effect.
permanently
It's
pregnant.
a beautiful
it was
thing.
crazy.
That's actually crazy. Wait, sorry, I know this is kind of like, I don't want to come out as rude. Wait, how old are you, if you want me asking?
No, it's not rude. I don't know why people are so weird, why women are so weird about that. I'm 35.
Hey.
See, I just said this earlier. You're probably like the only girl on the internet that I like. Because most girls on the internet, they would think that was rude, and then they would probably say something like, oh my God, I'm not answering that. So I appreciate you answering that.
Yeah, it's such an easy question. I don't know why girls are weird about it. We're all getting older. It's okay.
Yeah, exactly. It's part of life. What's it called? Wait, so where are you at right now?
I'm actually in my house, just sitting in my podcast studio, chatting with you. I basically have to hide because otherwise you're just going to hear kids screaming. So
makes sense. Yeah, I was trying to.
All right, got
we're trying
you.
to do this for months. I'm glad we can finally make it happen. That's good.
I got y'all. Because I'm like, God damn, this boy, like, man, I'm hearing it too.
I appreciate you coming on. I was actually trying to do this around the time I was doing something with President Trump. Which have you done anything with him yet or no?
I haven't, because things have obviously been completely crazy since the assassination attempt. And also, obviously, anybody who's been paying attention to my life publicly knows that it's been quite a crazy year for me as well. And so I actually haven't reached out to his team. You know, they were doing a lot of I was happy to see that he did your show and that he did Theo Vaughn, because I felt like they were doing all the boring stuff before. Like, I don't really care to see him on, like, MSNBC. Yeah, like, you know, it's always the same interview, trying to be like a gotcha interview. And I think, like, for most people, we just want to see him, like the fun side of him. Like, who is he as a grandfather? Who is he as like a friend? And so I was very happy to see that they're now starting to dip their toe into doing like streamers and podcasters, because that's way more influential in my opinion.
Yeah, 100%. No, I agree with you. I think and again, I think that did so much for him, right? As far as like press goes, like I saw it everywhere. When I did something, when Theo did something, like it was really, really good. And I think that's...
Yeah, I'm trying to get the audio to where it matches how bad his audio is right now. Because you see how Candace is compared to Aiden. So it's obviously him. Like, come on. Hey, don't blame S.E.T Media, man. We ain't do this. He did.
Like, what he kind of needs to do, show his fun side, show who he is as a person. Because, you know, I just see so much, you know, BS going on right now.
Let me know if that's a little better, though.
Propaganda going on and with everything. And I'm glad that, like, people can see the actual goodness of his heart and, like, him. Which is really good. I wanted to ask you, first off, like, what are your thoughts on what's going on right now, like with the current, like the election? Like, what do you think what's going on right now?
You know, it's funny because I just said this on my show today, but I'm just like, I don't know if I'm the only person that is just so bored with politics. Like, there's something about it that now just feels like we're watching. All right,
I'll be right back, chat, man. Give me like 3 minutes.
On my podcast, I'm like, everything's just fake and gay. You know, like it's just nothing's legit anymore. It's the same response, the same outrage. It doesn't matter what the topic is. Like, you know, obviously today, a very serious thing happened, like a school shooting. But before you can even process and feel compassionate about it, you have this exactly what you expect. Like, you know, the White House comes in and says, we need to ban guns, and suddenly it's a political debate. They're all saying the same stuff. And so it just needs breath of fresh air. Everything is so stale right now. I'm hardly even talking about politics on my show because I just gotten bored with it. And that's why I said, like, it was cool to see him do something different. Like, I'd much rather see Trump on Alex Jones' show, jumping on a streamer podcast. I want to, like, watch Trump try to play and win Mario Kart. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I know.
That's what I need for politics, because I already know what everybody's going to say. I already know what everybody thinks, and it's boring.
Well, I agree with you on that. I think it's like in a really, really weird spot right now, right? It's like all very predictable on what's going on, and you know. But I do want to ask you this, because I've been really trying to figure out the real reason why, and we can kind of like you know diverse a little bit. But why is Kamala getting like so much press? I see her everywhere. I see people like really like falling for it. I see her everywhere. It was out of the blue. As soon as Biden dropped out, it's like she's literally blasted everywhere I see her. I wanted to ask you, why is that?
Where you go?
Aiden, because everything is fake and gay, right? So they just like put her into the machine, and then suddenly that's it. She's our new Beyonce.
Fake and gay is hilarious.
Just right on time, like Megan Thee Stallion comes out and starts twerking for votes. It's like, okay, we're just gonna run the exact same repeat. It's like one half of the WAP duo. Back when it was Biden running for office, it was Cardi B. Now it's Kamala Harris. They've got Megan Thee Stallion twerking for votes and fundraisers. I'm like, well, wow, we're just really gonna run the exact same thing. And then they're like suddenly trying to like hype Beyonce at the DNC, and she comes out to Beyonce. We fully know she could not even sing the lyrics to that Beyonce song that she walked out to. But now all of a sudden,
I always said I was highly disrespectful to black women. I'm like, yo, so if you're a 60-year-old black woman, is that really how 6-year-old black women get down? Like, let's be real. It's a complete insult to our community that you think as a 60-year-old black woman, well, really you're Hindu. Really, she's Hindu. But as a 60-year-old black woman, you think it's okay to come out to ass twerking and all that? You couldn't have found, I don't know, a choir to sing, I don't know, the Black National Anthem or something, or then the National Anthem, then go make a speech? No. You had to get Meg Thee Stallion ass shaking. And you think that's what a close to 60-year-old black woman would do? It's crazy.
Sudden she's like speaking about her black heritage. Before this, when she was elected into Congress, all she spoke about was being like the first Indian elected to this. So it's just like, and people fall for it. That's the part that really trips me out.
Appreciate y'all,
like,
man. He said,
how can you continually keep falling for it? That's what's weird. I feel like I'm on the outside watching a movie, and I've seen the movie and the script so many times, and yet the characters in it really play their parts every time. You know, like they're like, oh my, first time a woman, and like we're running like the Hillary Clinton I'm with her vibes from 2016.
Oh man,
it's gonna be the first like how
Hillary Clinton, man, hot sauce in the back. Always got some hot sauce with me. He's like, come on, bro. I was like, oh my God, and y'all still gonna give her the vote, bro? Y'all still try to give her the vote?
How many times can we keep doing this? And so I just kind of have like tapped out from it, because I can't stand to watch it. I just need and crave something more authentic right now.
Yeah. I get what you're saying. I really do. You know, it's all so like stupid. And again, like that's what I want to. It's like all of a sudden she just started claiming that she's black, and like. And like it's just like all this, like she's just like switching up, and then like I saw like the way that she like speaks now, like she like changes her accent, her tone, and her voice. It's just like so it's corny. It really is.
It's corny. Yeah, thank you, Aiden, for saying it. It is corny.
Like who in their right mind thinks that when Kamala Harris, I don't even know what her husband's name is. I literally don't. Is it Doug? Is her husband's name Doug?
I don't know.
Literally, I don't know what her husband. I think it might be Doug. I think so. But who actually thinks that when you get up in the Harris household that they're listening to Megan Thee Stallion and like Offset and all of the rappers who she's now quoting on stage? Like who actually thinks she knows those songs? And I go, nobody could be that dumb. And then you look out and there's people like, yes, ha, you know, not like.
And that is where Hoes for Harris came from. When she came out twerking to Meg Thee Stallion, we was like, Hoes for Harris. The hoes are for Harris, god damn it. It's a rap. We done effed up now. It's a Hoes for Harris.
That ain't like us. Like, I'm like, who actually thinks that she's listening to that music?
Ain't like us, though. It's crazy.
It really just shows you like the power of the mainstream media, like the propaganda really works. If you just say something enough times, it becomes true. And so all they have to do is sell it to
appreciate
you,
you, man.
put a little sprinkle of a Beyonce song on it, and people are like, yeah, I'm with her. Like, she's the truth, even though nothing she has ever said has been honest or truthful.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong about that. It's all a bunch of bullshit. And you know, it's a very important election this year. And I think that we have to all really, really be careful. I think everyone's vote truly matters. I think everyone needs to really, really take a lot of thinking, but it's not hard to really think about it into their vote because it's a very, very important election. What do you think is going to happen? What are your predictions for this election?
You know, I kind of got out of political prognostications last election because I'm one of the people, oh my gosh, who believes that the last election was fully stolen. You know, it's just not normal. I've been in America my whole life. You don't say, let's stop counting votes, and then when people are dead asleep, the exact opposite result happens. And it doesn't matter how much the media tries to gaslight me about that. I'm never going to believe the 2020 election was not rigged.
Yeah.
And we have not addressed those problems. So when we get into this song and dance of who's going to win, I'm going, okay, but what have we done to address all of these things that were passed in lieu of COVID? Suddenly we're like flooding people with mail-in ballots. I think California made that a thing forever. Like Gavin Newsom was like, no, forever, mail-in ballots.
Oh, he's the worst.
Everyone's going to get one, whether you request one.
And shout out Jake Peters, man, with another super chat. It's going to be a rough 4 years, man. Bruh, you know what? I kind of believe that no matter what president we have, it's going to be a rough 4 years. Even if Trump get in office, he still got to fix some of the BS that Biden did. And if Kamala get in office, then we got to deal with 4 more years of, well, Bidenomics. And look how that's been working out for us.
One or not. And so I've lost faith in our institutions to begin with. Obviously, my hope and my encouragement is for everyone to get out and vote for Trump, you know, because if you are between the two people, I mean, one wants to usher in a state of communism, right? So if you are really believing, because this woman is half Indian and she's not even half black, just to be clear, like we can't even get clarity on that. She might be like 10% black somewhere, but even her father is Indian. So it's just completely wild. If you think that that's a reason for you to ignore the policies that she has supported and you don't think it's going to impact your life, man, look around. How are we at the phase right now, Aiden, where people are not even believing their own eyes? Like, everybody knows they were living better under Trump. And they're buying the rhetoric that when Trump gets into office, like, you're going to be back in slave chains. And I'm like, he was already in office.
The Trump derangement syndrome is real, guys.
Experiences. Like, it's amazing to me how propaganda works.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm with Trump. I support Trump. I hope that Trump wins. But I don't have enough faith in our institutions to put in a guess and say, like, he's definitely got this thing, you know?
Yeah,
if we have fair elections, we'd be able to make an accurate count.
I want to touch base on the topic that's really important to me.
Like, I'm not even sure if we got fair polls, because all of a sudden Harris comes out and now they're neck and neck. Don't make no sense. But, hey, man, these are the polls that they put out that you never seen or vote on. But, hey, it is what it is. Right?
Like, I have no issue with what people want to do, you know, with their lives. Like, everyone deserves to be happy, I believe, and I believe that everyone deserves to do what they want to do. Everyone's life is very important, and they should all be, you know, basically do what they want to do. I just don't like certain agendas being pushed on the youth, and I don't like certain agendas being pushed on certain groups of people. And I want to know your thoughts on that. Like, do you see anything, like, nowadays in the world where it's being pushed on children, the youth, etc.? Any specific?
Yeah, so I have this motto, and I'm going to start selling T-shirts that just say, bring back cigarettes. And people go, what are you talking about? Cigarettes were so bad, they gave you cancer. Well, let me explain it. So when I was growing up, there was this huge campaign, a very successful campaign to get Americans to stop smoking cigarettes, because it is natural for children to want to rebel, right? That stage of adolescence is never going to go away. And it used to be when we were like a normal country, when kids were rebelling, they were like, I'm going to go smoke a cigarette and skip school. Nowadays, it's like, hey, I'm going to go on puberty blockers. Like, now we've put in like Operation LGBTQ community, and the kids are doing things that are fundamentally changing their entire lives, like changing their entire prospect for life. It's like they're experimenting with their bodies, and that is such a shame to me, you know? And so when I see...
Man, shout out Malachi again, man. Got any financial recommendations to invest in? Yeah, I probably want to get into... You might want to get into Bitcoin. Of course, you want to get into AI stocks as well, because for some reason, you just can't go wrong with AI stocks. It's on the rise right now. It's going to be a trending type of economic feature for I'd give it about a good 5 years or so. Maybe it might take over in the long run. But I would go with cryptocurrency, which is Ethereum and Bitcoin, or AI stocks. That's what I go for. Now, this is not financial advice. I got to clarify that for YouTube reasons. But, yeah.
This operation LGBTQ community, and you see that they've now implemented this into the school system, into the public school agenda, trying to make confuse children when they're young. It absolutely infuriates me as a parent and just as a moral citizen. Like, you don't even have to be a parent to understand how wrong this is and how demented it is
and get your stocks up. Make sure just get your stocks up, okay? You should damn near use your stocks account almost like a savings account. So get your stocks up.
Utilize adolescence as a time to manipulate children into making lifelong decisions. And I want to be clear, it's not just morally wrong, it's an evil. It's an evil, and there's a reason for that. People have to be willing to have these conversations. Why do they want everybody to be homosexual? Like, what is so wrong about being a straight male in today's society?
Oh, God, we use everybody's enemy out of nowhere.
That the government just wants to have domain over your entire life, everything. I mean, down from what you're eating. They're poisoning us. They're trying to get people on pharmaceuticals as young as possible, And in order to really complete that takeover of your life, there can be no one to stand up to them, right? And what is the biggest threat to a government? Strong men. And so it infuriates me that they're trying to just instill this homosexual agenda on children without them understanding that it's a part of a larger evil agenda.
I want to ask you a question.
I'm telling you, because, bro, it's like a push to make men more emotional. There's no push to get men really like that in the gym no more, but there is a push to push you on, drugs. There's a push to get you into gangs. There is definitely a push to get you onto, mental drugs. There's a push on the black man to be everything but a masculine one. Yeah. You could be an over-emotionally one. You could be a gangster one, bro. You could be a dumbass one. But you can't be a masculine black man. And what's crazy? I feel bad for white people, too. Actually, all men of America. We just can't be masculine men no more. Or we're just misogynist, woman haters, we're bigoted, and all that other wild stuff they want to say.
As a mom, and you like you just said, it makes you upset. Obviously, of course, I think any more person, like you said as well, it makes me upset, and I'm not even a parent. If I don't know what you're planning on doing with your kids, but you obviously want to make sure they're getting a good education. Do you plan on putting them in a public school that I don't know, what state do you live in? Sorry.
I live in Tennessee, and my plans are to homeschool. I just had this conversation with my husband this week, so it's so funny you're saying that, because we met a family that homeschooled their children, and they were an absolute delight. I mean, just well-rounded children who are extremely athletic, in the top 1% in the nation for mathematics. And you realize that, wow, when you take this stuff at home, the public school system is an abject failure.
Yeah.
And so I know that it's a luxury to say that you can homeschool your kids. For some people, it's a huge luxury, because unfortunately you have both parents working. Thank you, feminism. Yay, women love working just like men. Thanks, feminists.
Man. Shout out Jake Peters again, big dog. Man, shout out, putting the show on his back. This is only the beginning. They're gonna come with every known lie and misinformation to take masculinity out of society. And because masculinity is what puts society in check. Without masculinity, we just got a whole bunch of soy boys around here just letting whatever go down. And the soy boys, sadly, they be the freaky of the freaky, and they be the most submissive of the submissives. So when the government tries to take over, we have all these soy boys, these boys rolling over. And that's the sad reality, though. We're not having enough masculine men no more. There's just more of these soy boy beta male dudes. And I ain't going to say beta male dudes. I'm going to say they just soy boys, and they just weak, scrawny, and, negative-minded. They just think so negatively.
Plan and my goal and my hope is to homeschool my children, because I just can't put them in this situation that I see happening.
I do have a question, because if I ever have kids, I plan on doing the same thing, because the education system now is horrible. But the only thing that I ever thought of, and I want to know what you think of this, is what about their social life? What about how do they how do they learn to develop how to communicate with people, and networking and things like that? How are they going to learn how to get friends, basically? How does that happen?
Yes, well, the early socialization happens when you have siblings, so I stand up for government also by just believing that we should all be having tons of kids, and they keep telling us, just have one, don't be selfish.
On God, man, if you're a well-to-do person, if you're a well-to-do man, We need a good, like, 5 to 10 kids out here, okay, bro? We need to get it popping out here. Our birth rate is down, bro. We need to come up, man. We need at least 5 to 10 each, okay? I got 10, bro. Some of y'all need to do y'all 5s.
No,
and once again, appreciate you, Jake Shields.
You know how it works. You get beat up. You know, you're fighting. You're socialized pretty quickly, and you have to survive, and you're not a brat. But the second element of that is to put them into a ton of activities, you know. So I still want my kids to be playing sports. I still want them to be dancing. Like I want my little girl. I have this dream that she's gonna dance ballet, even though it might be against the will. It might be me living through my child vicariously, and that's how you socialize. But also micro communities. This is what it's really about. Like know your neighbors. That's normal. Like we've gotten so far away from that thanks to this city agenda. Like it's New York and LA. And what was so refreshing about moving to the South is people care and know their neighbors. Like as soon as you move in, like that idea of someone bringing over a cup of sugar, that's real. People sent us cookies. People sent us flowers.
Man, shout out Jake, man. We appreciate you, man. Here in Washington State, you can get a sex change while incarcerated in prison via expense from taxpayers. Well, in Washington State. Like, hold on, bro. I ain't gonna lie, though. I kind of seen this coming because when transgenderism start coming around, I'm like, bro, there's literally gonna be dudes about to catch 30 to life and be like, I'm a woman. Now throw me in the female prison so I can have all the punani I want. It's like, it's kind of crazy. But the fact that they can get a sex change while in prison, that's like, but why would they? Oh, God damn it, man. Oh, man, they're trying to breed him in prison and set him back out into the world. Oh, for all you know, they're about to start reducing sentences for sex change. Hey, look, bro, for a woman, we'll set you free. You know, you just got to cut your dick off and, you know, you can go free, right? You miss the outside world enough, don't you?
Flowers, you know, welcome to the neighborhood. They want to know about you. And we've just been removed so far away from that. And so reinstilling, you know, family, faith, and neighborhood, I think is a big part of that. And of course, I'm a Christian, so getting involved with the church, you naturally have a community.
Yeah, it's so funny because now schools nowadays, they used to teach like God and like the Bible and like all this stuff, right? And it's like now they're teaching like completely different agendas and stuff. And it's just, it's insane like where it was years and years ago to where it is now. We're going downhill, and it's really, really sad that everybody is kind of falling for it, you know?
It's a humanist agenda.
Yeah.
I mean, what they did was they removed God because the government actually wants to be God in your life. And you saw the greatest example of that during COVID. Like people were turning on their TV screens and like worshiping whatever Dr. Fauci said. It was scary. I mean, they had signs in their yards like, thank you, Dr. Fauci, like he was God. And if Dr. Fauci came down and said like, don't see your grandma, let her die alone, people did it.
Nah,
they did
that's
it.
Crazy. That's crazy.
It's a commandment that they must follow, and you have to reflect on that and realize how much of a humanist agenda that really was. Like, place your faith in man, place your faith in the experts. It is such a perversion of the word of God, and it was done intentionally and very slowly, I believe, by the communists that came into this country, and I believe that they were the ones that instilled the public education system. Push for that.
Makes sense. So, Candace, where's the best place to live? Like, where's the best place to grow up? What's the best, highest quality of life you can get as
Midwest? Out here in the Tennessee, you know, Ohio, pretty good. I ain't gonna lie. Any Republican state out here in the Midwest, you'll do just fine.
Right now.
And down south.
Would you say?
The South. I mean, I'm in Tennessee. I absolutely love this state. It's the best place I've ever lived.
Tennessee,
between here and Texas. I do love my Texans. There will always be like a brotherhood between the Texans and the Tennesseans. I mean, they call us the volunteer state because we volunteered to help Texas.
Gotcha.
But everything that you're told by the media about the South being backwards and racist and, you know, slow is a complete lie because they don't want you realizing that the people down here are getting something right. They value their family. They value their friendships, they value their neighbors, and they do not want the government in their business. And so if that's backwards, I don't want to be forward.
Hey. Gotcha. Candace, what is your background? Where did you grow up? What's your ethnicity? I'm just curious because, like you said, like a lot of people like are under the impression, the South is all full of racist people and all this stuff. So tell me about your background.
So I grew up in Connecticut, and it's funny because during my formative years, I moved in with my grandparents when I was 7 years old. Okay. And my grandfather, even though we were living in Connecticut, he's from the South. He's from Fayetteville, North Carolina. And he grew up in the segregated South, grew up on a sharecropping farm. And he's the one that instilled early on in me the conservative values that I have today. I always remind people I took a very liberal route to conservatism. So don't worry, I was a feminist. I was like, yay, let's go party. And, during the 18, 19, 20, 21. But I came back to my faith. I came back to conservatism because I realized that the happiest and the best people that I ever knew were my grandparents. Married when they were 17 years old, stayed married until my grandmother's dying day.
And look, man, they don't even encourage that no more, bro. That's how bro. Look, I know something was twisted in the female community. I'm talking about all races in America. When they start telling these women, oh, yeah, go have sex, man. Oh, no. Getting married at 22 is too early. I'm like, what? Back in the day, 22 is late. Like, you supposed to get, hitched up in high school. What you doing? And let's be real. The more these girls run the streets, I ain't gonna lie, the less they really do with their lives. And that'd be the sad reality. A wife can do way more with her life than a hoe can. And that's just the facts.
And what they put first always
unless
were their values.
Count the OF girls, but come on now. Is that
and
really
so when you start to see that,
respectable?
where in the beginning I was like running away from my grandparents, I was so embarrassed that they were like the Bible Belt Christians that people tell you about. And then you realize, man, they were so happy and it was so simple. And it's because they believed in order, just order. They believed in respect. My grandmother respected my grandfather. Like they believed even in traditional masculinity and traditional femininity. Like there is a natural order to things and it works. Men should be men, women should be women. We shouldn't be trying to breed the natural aggression out of men by telling them it's toxic. Like, we can't survive without strong men. That aggression is what protects homes and protects families. We shouldn't be trying to breed femininity out of...
Bro, I always say the one thing that women is not going to do if all men disappeared. Well, actually, there's a couple things. But I know the one thing at the top of the list is the sewers. Y'all not gonna go down them sewers if we disappear. So I might as well stop with that male hatred, man. Come on now. At least you can do is appreciate the construction people, the construction men, and the guys who go down in them sewers and the salt mines. At least respect them.
Women, like encouraging them to be clinically obese and not care about their looks because F the patriarchy. Like, that's a beautiful design. Like, we're meant to be the weakness in men, right? Like, it's such a beautiful yin and a beautiful yang.
Yes, it is.
And once you realize that our world is disordered in the West because they keep fighting natural order, then you become like me and you just become like obsessed with saying like, no, like we're going back to the basics. And that's what I am. I just defend natural order as it is.
Got it. Yeah, no, I understand that. I have a question for you that I've always wondered because, 10 years ago when I was, I was like in my teens, like a teenager. So when I would go to like New York and when I would go to like Los Angeles, they were completely different than what they are now. Even San Francisco, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. California is one of the most beautiful states ever. Beautiful weather, everything. Now you go to these places, it's ruined. Newsom obviously ruined California. Everyone knows that. But even New York City it's horrible now. Have you been to New York recently or LA recently?
New York really has a stench now. It has a stench. It's so disgusting.
It's sad.
And filthy.
Yeah, it's so sad. My question to you, Candace, is is there any hope for these cities, these big cities? Like, can they come back, or are they pretty much they're done?
Oh damn.
It's difficult for me with the policies that Gavin Newsom passed to see how California can come back. New York, I will hold a candle out for. Look, I was born in New York, so I might be speaking completely biased here. But
like all these companies, bro, they had insurance companies that left California. Tesla left California. Bro, they went from having a $500 billion GDP to like $250 billion. They lost so much money through their policies, and being overly woke.
You're right.
That'll get you too. Now that'll get you too.
Can enslave you, and that's what's happened across the board. These inner
Make sure to like the video, man. We appreciate the support.
By the concept of freedom, like believing in this dream that everything can be free and you have to be accepting of everything. And then you look around you and you realize that like you've been completely dominated by this concept of freedom that was never actually real, and you've become really a slave to your own vices. And so that's why people are fleeing the cities. I wish them luck. I would move out of California if I lived lived there on the basis of the policies which even control your children and control your children's bodies. For me, I could never be there. I think it's horrific.
It's horrible. I went to high school in California, and I talked about this with President Trump, and they tell you, we hate Trump and all these things, like he's bad, he's a crook, all this stuff, and they're never ever supposed to endorse politics on children. That's parents' jobs to teach them and inform them on certain topics like that. What?
Damn, they do that in school? Indoctrinated from school to hate somebody is crazy. Like, yeah, you gotta keep your opinions to yourself and let kids be free thinkers, independent thinkers.
Teachers
instead of being indoctrinated.
What are your thoughts on like that? We already talked about the education system, but like, what are your thoughts on like how like these public education systems, how corrupt they are, and these teachers they're now allowed to voice their own political opinions now and stuff?
Yeah, well, they're not teachers; they're activists. And that is the reason why they wanted to set up the public school system that federalized public education for a reason, because it allows them to choose their activists, and they're training up these activists and university campuses, which have become totalitarian states.
Damn, Glitch, the way you talking says, look, man, we got every race of homeless over here, man. I promise you, every race of homeless. Like, man, that's a lot of different colors of homeless people.
Are there good teachers? Of course. But the reality is, especially when you get into the inner city community, you have a bunch of people that are activists who believe that that the students are their children, that they're not the children of the parents, and they're constantly trying to teach them, to brainwash the children into believing that their parents are backwards. Thomas Sowell has a really great book on that, like how they made that incursion following the Department of Education being established in the 1970s. And the book is called Inside the Education System. It's a wonderful read. I mean, I
ain't even gonna lie. Thomas Sowell, bro, oh my God. If you read Thomas Sowell, if you're FBA, he gonna have you upset. That's all I'm gonna say. He's gonna have you upset. And shout out to Key, because he actually did a live on it. So go make sure to check that out. He did a whole Thomas Sowell live for y'all. And shout out Jake Peters, man, with another $5 super chat, man. The policies in California are extremely similar, if not identical, to Washington State and Oregon. Damn, so it's pretty much that whole strip. It's the whole strip in the West right there that's just doing the gay stuff. Or, well, the gender affirming stuff. Oof, yeah, that's crazy. That makes sense, though. That makes sense, because those are, it's crazy. Those are both also heavy weed states.
Intentionally sexualized kids. Before the Department of Education was established, the majority of high schoolers were graduating with
I always say, bro, liberalism is fun, but conservatism is safe. Okay?
Planned Parenthood got into the classroom. They have, a seated audience, and they routinely feed them poison. And the sooner that parents recognize that and realize that this is just Soviet propaganda. These are Soviet classrooms. We always study propaganda and we're like, oh yeah, like Stalin did that. That could never happen here. No, you too are victims of propaganda. I was a victim of propaganda. And the sooner that you realize it, the sooner you can avoid it.
100%. 100%. I want to ask you a question that my entire chat is spamming me to ask. It's about Kanye. They said, because I've been trying to get Kanye on like my stream. I've been close like 2 or 3 times. They said, ask about Kanye not getting on stream, that she went through something similar or something like that. I think you did do something with him. I saw a clip, I think, right?
Yeah. I actually am planning on doing something with him pretty soon again too. And, I have always been a person that is friends with Kanye, and obviously he's been through a lot in the public, and I think it's really crappy when people that say they're friends then like deal with each other like they're politicians and issue statements about each other. It's Kanye's obviously just dropped his Vultures 2, so he was just in Korea the last that I checked, but I didn't do any streaming with him. I feel like that's like your specialty, like you're the king of streams, but I just do like podcasts with him, and I released a podcast that I had Volted with him, and people really loved it because you got to hear Kanye not on the defense, similar to what we were talking about with Trump. It's nice to see him not having to be on the defense and just being able to share what he actually thinks.
Yeah, no, seriously. I think I'm a big fan of his music, and a lot of stuff that he said in interviews and stuff, it's super interesting. He's a very, very, very interesting person. Super interesting. I want to ask you a question that's related to you. Would you ever run for presidency, or do you have any type of motivation to run in office of any type of branch or anything like that?
So I can honestly say I have no motivation at the moment. I never say never, because I feel like we say something like that, we make plans, and then God laughs, and the next thing you know, you're running for office. What I can say that if I ever ran for president, it would be with Thomas Massie. Like I would either be his VP or ask him to be my VP. I think Thomas Massie is.
Hey, yo, shout out Thomas. Look, I listened to that Thomas Massie interview on Tucker Carlson. That is one impressive dude. That's one impressive man. This man literally lives off the grid. Like, he don't pay no water bill. He don't pay a light bill. He don't pay an electric bill. Everything he's found a way to just do outside of society. You could only be nothing but impressed. And it took him about, I don't know, maybe I think it said like 10 years or something to build it. But you gotta be impressed. Bro has successfully lived off the grid. And he's an engineer as well, so he's a smart guy.
The greatest person in Congress. He's the best that we have going for us. And if we had a bunch of Thomas Massies, the country would be in a completely different state. But he's already there, so I'm just like, Thomas Massie, please run for president, and I will crawl over broken glass to vote for you and to do everything in my power to get America to vote for you. But for me, I love being a mom. I love being able to have a podcast. I love being able to speak about issues that I really care about. Like, I'm so anti-vax, and being able to share why that is with parents and to really be able to connect with them as a person. I don't think you get to do that as a president, because all you're constantly having to do is fight battles of people lying about you every day.
It's true. It's a bunch of
I guess I still do now as well, but whatever.
Yeah, you probably have a lot
wouldn't
of
be no difference in lifestyle.
And the libtards on X trying to come at you, because they come at me too all the time. It's insane. They have this. They're so deep too. Why are they so deep? But you never see them in person. They're so deep, right? I've never seen somebody that quote tweets my tweet with like 100,000 likes, millions of views, and they're just like, "Wow, this transphobic streamer," like, it's insane. But I don't see them in person. I want to have a conversation with you. I don't know. I don't get it. It's
Twitter thugs. That's why
Twitter thugs.
They would never say anything in person, because that's where they get their power. They're like, they do this and they hit send and they're so tough, and I'm like, you would never
keyboard
say that to
warriors,
me in my face.
man.
You know that I would never
warriors.
accept you saying that to my face. So they have to stay behind their phones.
And they better stay behind their phones.
You had mentioned there was a school shooting today, and there's quite some that happened. I don't know how.
Because I'm telling you right now, and I'm not saying this to sound tough, but most people who throw the ad hominem attacks, they wouldn't say it to your face, okay? They wouldn't. I promise you. Because think about it. I don't care. I'm in Columbus, Ohio. If you have a problem with me, look, man, come talk to me. And I ain't even I'm not talking about fighting. I mean, come on, man, let's have a civil talk. But if it gets to fighting, well, hey, I got you there too.
What the ratio is.
But I'd rather talk.
I'm misinformed on the ratio, but it happens. I see it a lot, right? I want to ask you, what can we do about school shootings? Because it's a really, really big issue. Kids are kids, and no kid deserves to lose their life over that ever. So what do you think we could do about school shootings?
Well, the number one cause of school shootings is pharmaceuticals, the one discussion that the media will never have with you, because they're all bought and paid for by Big Pharma. And so they point the finger, they blame a ton of things. They will blame everything from video gaming to rap music to Donald Trump every single time, to Republicans, to the NRA, and they never tell us what drugs the kids are on. And they're all on drugs. You can see it in their eyes. You know what pharmaceuticals do to someone. You know what a pharmaceutical cocktail does to somebody. And be very clear here, the CIA wanted to see, they did literal experiments to figure out how they could brainwash people to commit mass crimes.
Ooh,
I
yes,
talk
MK
about
Ultra.
the books that I encourage people to read online, to learn about MK Ultra, to learn about all the mind control programs, COINTELPRO, and the things that our CIA has been up to. They know that there is a cocktail of medicine that can make people crazy and schizophrenic. There's a wonderful book called Chaos that I've encouraged people to read, that's written by Tom O'Neill, which will really make you understand what your government is. You better believe the deep state is in fact evil, and none of that is a conspiracy. It's recorded fact that this researcher got after 25 years of filing FOIA requests. And so when you realize that they know that they are making these kids insane, they know that these drugs and these SSRIs that they're putting kids on are not good for their brain, and then as soon as a shooting happens,
Hey, I can agree. There's some people in the chat like, oh, no, they need to reform the gun laws. No, they don't, because that's not going to stop criminals from getting these guns. That's not going to stop these little kids from getting these guns to go shoot up their schools. Nah, you think they care about the law? If they cared about the law, they wouldn't have walked into the school and shot up the kids. Like, what are you talking about? We're talking about criminals. We're talking about the worst of the worst who don't care about the law. So why are we trying to put these gun laws on citizens who are trying to protect themselves? Like, that doesn't make sense. It's not rational. So like I said, it's best to deal with the mental health of these men or these kids before we even talk about gun law. Because that's the one thing we always walk away from, is the mental health debate of these, excuse me, sorry about that, but of these kids. Let's get to talking about the mental health of these kids before we talk about gun laws. Because it's not guns. Guns don't kill people. If a gun just doesn't sit there on the table and magically goes up and shoots somebody. No, somebody got to pick that mug up with a poor mind and go out there and do some sick stuff with that gun. Like, it starts at step one. It got to be the person. Step two is the gun. Let's start with step one.
Never hear anybody talk about Big Pharma. We're never going to get to the root of school shootings. You know, kids are not supposed to be drugged. Your brain is not supposed to be drugged. You know, clearly what's going on with Britney Spears, everyone's trying to jump conspiracy theories. That's your brain when you are being, you know, Big Pharma has put a cocktail of drugs to experiment with your brain over a long period of time. That is the result. And so we don't have honest conversations about school shooting because nobody, I guess, has the courage to stand up to Big Pharma when they're the biggest lobbying group.
Hey, Pennsylvania.
Pharmacies
Hey, neighbor.
Are all trapped,
my
right?
man.
Pharmacies are so fucked up. People really. It's
Shout out to
crazy.
Pennsylvania,
It's so
man. I went to my
easy.
first
It's so
MMA
easy to
fight
just
out there.
Someone, prescribe someone on a bunch of medication that's poison to us. It's like they don't even care. They write a prescription so easily for anything. You go to a doctor, I have anxiety, or I have back pain, or something like that. You're gonna get prescribed like an opioid or something. It's so nuts without even like trying something else to try to resolve it. It's just so easy to prescribe an opioid. And you know, I suffered like a very, very bad opioid addiction that I'm open about. And it's like I understand it. Like I understand how like it's a trap, and it's like it's all. It's just it's a whole mess. All that whole pharmaceutical.
Well, good for you for getting for combating opioid addiction, because it's incredibly hard. That is not an easy thing.
Somebody made a banger point in the chat. At the end of the day, a gun's an inanimate object, bro. And then again, it's just a mechanism to take a life a little bit easier, but it's useless without an operator. Like, come on now. Like, let's be real. Like, it's like a car. A car can't hurt nobody without an operator. Cars just ain't magically going up, flying into people. No, somebody got to get in the car and fly it into somebody. That's how it works. And what we going to do? Start banning cars, restriction on speed limits, restriction on cars? Like, what's next? Because they do it with the guns, how far else do you think they can take it? Look what they did with COVID. Look how far they stretched that. Look what they did with 9/11. Look how far they stretched that.
Able to beat their opioid addictions, and to think that the people who didn't beat it, the people that have died, the people that have turned to the streets because they can't get another prescription after Big Pharma really made them addicts. And you know, let a drug dealer get caught selling something, they go to prison. Yeah. What happens to Big Pharma? Oh, they get a fine.
Nothing.
I'm sorry that we turned the whole nation into a bunch of opioid addicts. We're willing to cut the check for $1 billion. They already knew it was addicting. Yep. They already set aside money that they knew they were going to have to eventually pay. It's a complete racket. And at the end of the day, it's the American people that are suffering because of all of these drugs. And so I really encourage people, you know, don't take these drugs until you really understand. Like, your doctor is being paid to offer you certain drugs. I mean, even
I'm going to tell you right now, bro, if you got a kid, right? And you got you a hyperactive kid, man. Like, your kid can't stay still. It's a kid. It's not supposed to stay still. It got all this energy. It gets like a ball of energy. Weren't you young before? Weren't you a ball of energy? Like, think about it like that. So putting kids on ADHD instead of teaching your kid how to focus, it's like lazy parenting. It's like you could teach your kid focus, or you can just give them a pill. It's like, bro, it's like microwave parenting. Then y'all mad when y'all don't get like 5-star chef results. Because y'all doing the microwave parenting.
Birth control. I'm like also rapidly against birth control after learning all of the research. Why do you think so many women are struggling with infertility? Why do they think these drugs were created in the first place? To make women infertile. So it's just such a racket when you learn the history of these drugs and how these drugs were able to get passed by the FDA and what they always knew about these drugs. And then to see people suffering down the line, it truly is an evil.
It's horrible. This is when I was like 12 years old. I have a story for you. When I was like 12, I was sleeping one time, and my uncle, he was on a bunch of drugs, meth, and he walks in and stabs me with a knife in my sleep. It's crazy. Stabbed me. Yeah, pulled the knife out, screamed, went to the hospital. But I'm just saying, like, it's insane because he was prescribed like a bunch of drugs, and he got off the prescription, and then he was on meth. And it's crazy. You know, I still see my uncle now and stuff. Thanksgivings and stuff like
It's
that.
like the drug dealers aren't on the streets, by the way. They're in back offices at the FDA. They're in your government. Those are the big guys. If you think it's El Chapo, you're out of your mind. It's these families, the Merck family, the families that have been made billions and trillions of dollars by turning Americans into addicts. It's totally sick and disturbing.
It's horrible. Wait, Candace, how many minutes do I have with you? Sorry, I was
You're
curious.
good. Don't worry about it.
You're good?
You can get all your questions asked.
Well, I want to ask some fun stuff too, because I mean, like, again, like what I wanted to do with President Trump is like he's not all political. Like, it's a human being at the end of the day. Like, I want to ask, like, first off, like, what are some hobbies you like to do? Like, you're a person, you know what I mean? Like, you're like everyone else. You have interests and stuff. What are some of your interests and hobbies that you do?
Okay, so the newest hobby that I picked up in the last couple of years, which people have seen on my Instagram, is gardening, because I realized one day that we're all on welfare if you don't know how to grow your own food. And so I got super into that. Love going to the farmer's market. I think that's the way everyone should shop. It totally changes the game. I know I sound super Southern right now, but even grocery stores is like a step moved in the humanist agenda in my view now. And just being able to support like local farmers. Beyond that, obviously, my hobbies are my kids as well. Like, I mean, the greatest gift that I have is being a mom. I mean, I just have the most beautiful children, the best husband, and me and my husband love to fish. I am a fisher woman. I can be on a boat all day. Particularly, I like lakes.
Gotcha.
I mean, sorry, river fishing, sorry.
River fishing? Oh, that's fun.
All right,
That's
I
cool.
prefer the trail.
I never
Stripping down the river and fishing all day.
Oh God, hey, main message: get out in nature, man. Go out there and touch grass. You know, take your hike on the trail, man. Go canoeing, do something. Hopefully, you're not in a highly, populated city area. But if you are, you might want to drive out a little bit far and get you some nature.
Like you really can't beat it.
No, I never got into fishing, but I always
it's
wanted.
the best. You have to. Like, go out. Like, go see real America. Like, go to Wyoming. Go do Idaho. Go fish, and you'll be like, wow, this is God's country. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, for sure. What about what is your favorite food to eat? Like, what do you like to eat?
Oh gosh, I'm going to be such a stereotype here, but I would probably say I eat a lot of different foods, but everybody knows that chicken is my favorite. It just is. I just think it's a perfect meat. Like chicken pot pie. I mean, any way that you can serve it up, I just think chicken's it's superior. So I hate to fall into every stereotype. Oh wait, but I will say close neck and neck pasta. I do love Italian food. It's really bad.
Super good.
I feel like that's stereotype too. Like, girls love pasta. I am a stereotype in that way. I could eat pasta every day as well. Like a bucatini alla matriciana is my favorite pasta dish without question.
What about chicken in Nashville? Is it good out there? Like, would you say it's up there with some of the other? Like, I heard Atlanta has the best chicken. That's what like my buddy told me.
Atlanta does.
Yeah.
Atlanta does beat Tennessee, and I love Tennessee, they tell you about the hot chicken, but honestly, Atlanta has got better chicken.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, they be snapping up there in Atlanta, bro. I ain't gonna lie. But man, damn, the best chicken. Yeah, they do got the best chicken. I can't even deny it. I think Chicago got the deep dish pizza though, for sure though.
My buddy wanted me to ask this question. His name is Mike. He said, "What are your thoughts on the Paul brothers, Logan and Jake Paul? What are your thoughts on them?"
Okay, so they're different. That's the first thing.
Okay.
Right? The two of them are different. Which one just got engaged?
That was Logan.
Logan just got engaged to Nina Agdal. I personally hit it off with Jake better. I think Jake has been more authentic about who he is, and he's never really like drifted into the woke BS. And like Logan was hardcore simping for like, I don't know, like
Impulsive.
BLM. He literally like on his show called me like a self-hating black person in one of his like streams, and I was just like, I don't even remember who was next to him, and that was super lame. And then when I said, "Oh, may come on your show," he wouldn't do that. Now he's kind of shifting, obviously, and I hope it's authentic, but I feel like now it's easy to stand up to being woke, and it wasn't as easy before. And I think it's also because he's getting a lot more into the fighting world, and you really just can't be that woke in the fighting world. It's just not a woke crowd, so to speak.
Man.
But they've both
Bro, the people in the UFC are anything but woke. Like, you know what? I need to play that Brian Mitchelson interview that he did with PBD for y'all. That will let you know, bro. These UFC dudes, oh my goodness. You want to talk about far right? They're kind of far right, low key. Like they're the most conservative people ever. I'd be like, damn, y'all be on some shit. Oh man, especially Sean Strickland in China, man. That boy can't stand China.
They've both been kind to me,
Shout out
but
to
I
UFC,
think
man, if y'all
probably
know.
if I had to pick one or the other, I think Jake has been more authentic.
You know what's funny, actually, what you just said, I realized that cancel culture was really a thing during like COVID and stuff, but I realized that it's not even that like big of it. Like nobody cares anymore. And I want to, it's really people like you, Andrew Tate, Sneeko, honestly myself, because I was going on this little rampage saying stuff. I got banned, and then Kick came, and like Kick Rumble, and where's your platform on? Sorry, where is your podcast on?
I'm on Rumble, YouTube.
YouTube.
I host my show on YouTube. I'm on all of them now.
But the point I'm trying to say is it's funny because now it's easier. Like now you can go out and say, oh, I like Trump. If you did that before, you're getting dropped by your sponsorships. You're getting dropped by all this stuff. It's stupid. But that's crazy, actually. I just realized that. So
yeah, people that did it earlier, I feel like it was brave, and now it's like everyone's like, oh yeah, no, being woke is bad. And I'm like, okay, but like, where were you back in 2018 when we were all getting called every name under the book? Which is fine. I'm very much like, I have the philosophy, people change their minds, and it's good to just invite them into it and fight the woke wars together. But you do remember the real ones who were really going through it before it was easy.
Yeah, no, for sure. Okay, so I'm gonna ask your opinions on other people if you don't mind. So go ahead, guys. You guys can go ahead and type some people out. Do you have a favorite like musician or like rapper or singer or anyone like that you listen to, like your top 3 artists or something like that?
I'll say Kanye.
Do you know what? I got really weird about listening to music because I realized how much it impacts your spirit. And so I now only listen to like honky-dory nice music because I just sort of realized I was like, wow, listen to a song and suddenly you're angry. You listen, like however what you're listening to impacts your soul. So I would say I listen to a very eclectic mix of music. I can tell you.
Basically, AKA, bro, watch that trap music. Now, look, black people, look, okay? You gotta chill in the trap, man. Look, you shouldn't be consuming trap music every day. I get it. It's nice. It gets you pumped up, but you have to understand it does play with your energy. It's the vibration. Now, if you're a spiritual person, you understand what vibrations do and how it can send you into low vibration to where you're more prone to do negative things. Right? Great. So this is where you do need to chill on the trap music. Like, okay, I ain't saying cut it off completely, but try to go a day without trap music. You know, try to go at least 3 days without trap music. I don't know. Try to find a new genre of music like jazz or something. You know, black people, we like jazz. Come on, let's try to tap into that. But yeah, that's pretty much what. And for white people, hey, you might want to chill on the metal a little bit. Yeah, that's something I can really say about y'all. The metal, yeah, I kind of got to chill that out.
Like across every genre, but in terms of what I've listened to recently, I feel like I haven't been listening to music, and I should get back into it.
Yeah. The new rap.
Also, music is so lame nowadays. It's like we don't even have good artists. We had such good music growing up, and there's just no good music. Like we grew up listening to like Lauryn Hill, the miseducation of Lauryn Hill,
beautiful.
And now they're giving us Ice Spice. It's just respect to Ice Spice if she's making money doing that. But what's happening? We had Mariah Carey's voice. We had Whitney Houston. And we just don't get that anymore. Now they're like the best singer-songwriter is Taylor Swift. It's a different world. Like talent is just a different word and has a different meaning nowadays.
I get what you're saying. Okay. So I get you. Yeah, I agree. The new form of music now, it's kind of hard to get into stuff. All right, they're saying some names here. Let's see. Okay, let me see right here. Joe Rogan. What are your thoughts on Joe Rogan?
Do a show again. We haven't talked in a very long time. He's always been very kind to me. I see him at the UFC fights, and no matter what, I love that he will host different ideas. So I respect that he hosts different ideas, and what he did during COVID was exceedingly brave. The calls to cancel him. I mean, you had freaking Meghan and Harry coming out saying, get him off of Spotify because he's talking to people that disagree with the preferred narrative. So he stood up to the totalitarian regime. Does he do it every time? No, but just doing it when it matters should count for something. And so I like Joe Rogan. I think Joe Rogan's cool.
I respect him so heavy. You know, it's funny. I saw you at one of the UFC. I forgot which one. I think it was the one in Florida, the one in Miami. I just didn't want to like.
It was a good one.
It was a good one. I just didn't want to like Candace. I didn't want to like. Obviously, like I wanted us to meet like this, kind of like before I would come up to you.
Oh, you should have totally come up. It's always so fun to meet people at the UFC fight. There's energy. You can't explain it to people until you're octagon side, you know?
Exactly.
Man, that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to go get me. I'm trying to go to a UFC fight, man. Hold on. When's the next one? I gotta find out. But, bro, man, watch some UFC, man. That's a banger. And anyway, man, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel, man. And go ahead and double tap that screen for me. If you have any questions or comments you want read out loud to the chat, man, we got about 600 plus of y'all in here. Go ahead and send in a super chat, man. It's $1 and up. Appreciate the support.
You know, I love the UFC. It's great, and the energy in that arena is crazy. They're asking thoughts on Alex Jones.
Listen, Alex Jones has always been nice to me.
Alex Jones is lit. Like, look, I probably can't tell you too much about Alex Jones on here, but bro, if you actually look at his content, bro, it's kind of lit the way he presents it. His whole show is hard. Man, god damn it. Yes, InfoWars is low-key kind of hard. Even their intro music is cold. I can't even lie.
First and foremost, we are not going to pretend like Alex Jones is not objectively hilarious and entertaining. I've always described Alex Jones as like the WWE of politics. He says things and they sound crazy, but what he's saying is actually true. It's just the way he...
Like, bro, when he said the turning the frogs gay, it's like, bro, he wasn't lying. He wasn't lying. That's what killed me. I was like, he was right. Like, the most craziest thing you could literally say and get clipped up saying, they're turning the frogs gay. Wait, they're actually turning frogs gay. Yes, they're able to turn male frogs into female frogs in the water through this chemical called atrazine. Yeah, I know, crazy. Look it up.
Expresses it like Hillary Clinton is literally crawling from under her rock right now. Like, it's like she's not literally crawling from under a rock, but this is exceedingly entertaining. And he's been right about so many things that people were calling him crazy about, and it's nice to see him being introduced back into the mainstream. I was really excited that Tucker Carlson had him on, and I have always said my biggest regret in politics, and I ended up having him on my show back when I had my old podcast. But my biggest regret in politics is that when he first got banned from Twitter, I didn't say anything, because I was kind of just becoming bigger and everyone was like, just stay away from it. And then I really regretted being a coward. And 8 months later, before he was let back onto Twitter, I had him on my show and I apologized to him publicly because Alex Jones has always been very kind to me and had me on his show very early on. So I like Alex Jones.
I feel you, because like when you're coming up, you know, people will tell you to stay away from certain topics and stuff. And obviously you have something good going on. So it's like you don't want to like ruin it, so you're kind of like not really settled in yet, but once you settled in, you're like, all right, now I'm like gonna really like make sure that I stand with that. That's good. What are your thoughts on do you know who Hassan Abi is?
I don't.
Hassan,
good, don't. Do you know who Eminem is?
No, Hassan Abi, yeah, no, I don't.
Yeah, he's writing so many love songs about me at the moment.
Wait, didn't he talk about you in a song?
2 songs, which is crazy because I grew up and obviously I was young when we listened to Eminem, Slim Shady, and we thought he was like the hardest rapper, you know.
And he, by the way,
my name is...
Sorry, I do want to say that back in the day...
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. Back in the day, M was that guy like, what? My name is... Man, that was a banger. Oh, God. Lose Yourself, all them bangers, man. Back in the day, bangers. Of course, he got others, and then he went a little crazy with a couple albums, but... Hey, you know, it's M. He can get away with that stuff. Nowadays, I don't like it too much. Actually, it got old probably in, like, what, high school?
Hey, he
dominated my middle school years, though.
Because I remember he would always talk about killing people and raping people and all that stuff, and everyone was like, oh, Slim Shady. But no, go ahead, what you're going to say.
Yeah. So he was this guy who stood up to the mob over and over again, who were demanding that he get canceled and were calling him names and saying that he was a homophobe. And then he just became the stereotype of all of that and called every single person that supported Trump a racist. And now he's making hard music saying that Candace hates her own race. It is... Woke Shady is just really sad. It's like, oh man, you should have just retired. You don't want to go out like this. You meant so much to so many people because it felt like you were bucking the trend and then you became the trend. So Grandpa Shady isn't my thing, but at least I enjoyed his stuff when I was younger. And I'm going to try to just leave him in the early 2000s in my mind.
I know, I got to get over that too, because he was my first like rapper, like him and 50 Cent. So it's like, it was hard for me to see that too, because it's like...
You know what? I ain't gonna lie. When I start banning dudes, I'm gonna call it the 86 sentence. Because 86,000 seconds is hilarious. I'm gonna have to hit people with the 86 sentence.
Like, damn, like, he used to be him. Like, he would not give a fuck. Like, if someone tried to be like, you can't do this, you can't do that, he said, fuck you. Like, it would just basically say any slur came to his mind that whatever he felt, he really, like, stood on top of his business, right? He stood on business. What are your thoughts? They said, what are your thoughts on, sorry, I don't know if this is sensitive because a lot of people are saying it. They're saying Nick Fuentes.
Whoa.
Yeah, so Nick Fuentes, you know what's so crazy? I had never known the Nick Fuentes story. So he's actually one of those names that when you're coming up in politics, everyone kind of behind closed doors is like, Nick Fuentes, like, don't do anything with Nick Fuentes. He's this crazy white supremacist. And I didn't know anything about him. And I'm one of those people that until I actually interact with someone, I just will not adopt someone else's opinion because I think it's lame to do that. And so what happened was I had one correspondence with him back when Ye and him were hanging out, and back basically around the time that I wore the White Lives Matter shirt with Ye about something. And we had a private correspondence, and he kept it like, I really respected it. He never told the public about the public correspondence. It had to do with Ye, so it wasn't anything that was like a big deal.
Yeah.
But I just kind of respected what he did in that moment privately. So I was like, based on my experience with him, people trying to tell me that he was this awful monster didn't add up to what I thought he did. That was actually a good thing to do. Then you fast forward, and the first time I actually heard his story was when he jumped on the live and started sharing. I think Lauren Chen was hosting the live about Christ is King being anti-Semitic, and he shared his backstory about what happened to him when he was 18 and being canceled because he stood up to Israel, essentially. And I felt really bad for him. Like, I thought to myself, that is the most messed up story that I've ever heard, like an 18-year-old kid being canceled by everybody because he had some questions about Israel.
Which was sad.
And I then understood why it was that he sort of built this underground of people who just wanted to see him make a comeback because what was done to him was wrong.
Nah, I ain't gonna lie. He does have the... Look, I don't agree with Nick Fuentes on a lot of things. Actually, if you ask me the percentage of what I agree with him, I give you like 30% agree with him, 70% don't. But in all actuality, they did do that kid dirty. I mean, absolutely filthy. You telling me you did this to this kid when he was 18, just took out his bank account, killed his career, all at 18, and he had to rebuild himself from there? I'll low-key, I'm gonna be real with you. Of course he has this vitriol towards Jews. I'm gonna be real with you. It's not acceptable, but you can see where he gets it from. It's like, oh, they kind of strip you from everything just because you try to talk about them, and now you kind of have this anti-Jew thing going on with you. It's like, okay, I get it.
Now, I guess, how old is he now? 26, 27 years old?
I think, let me hear, I got Google right here. Hold on, I got you. 3 seconds. And we got the age. He is 26.
Yeah, so, impressive to have built that when everyone kind of canceled you early on for something that you said when you were 18, which should never happen to anyone ever. You should be allowed to be 18 years old and say stupid stuff. And you can understand why then he went to like the extreme of being really angry, because who wouldn't feel that way if they had done all of that to you over like standing up to saying Israel's a foreign country, why do we have to support it? But I think at the age of 26 and 27, people are expecting a little bit more like growth there. Like, I'm wondering, like, okay, you have the platform, you beat the thing, right? Mm-hmm. People are following you and listening to you. Like, what are you going to present now? What are you going to be? You don't have to do the jab, just saying things to be whatever. Like, what are you actually going to present to the public? So I think that will be interesting to see. Like, obviously something to pay attention to, but I do not buy into the stupid hype of people saying, do you disavow Nick Fuentes, that stupid game that everybody plays? It's like, I didn't make a vow to Nick Fuentes. I hate when the right starts acting like the left. And he's right to be mad at the people who did stuff to him when he was 18,
Yeah.
Gotcha.
It's a bit valid. Valid.
Candace, I think this is excellent. I would love to do something with you in person next time. We literally gotta link.
Yeah, something in person. Y'all have better audio. It would be a lot better. But yeah, it was actually a pretty good one though, man. I'm gonna go ahead and time out on this one, man. If you want to make any closing comments, man, go ahead and send it in the super chat. $1 and up. We can go ahead and push the conversation a little bit further. Like I said, go ahead and send a $1 and up super chat. Any question or comment. Appreciate the support. But just to give you my closing thoughts, man. So first on the Rabbi Shmuley one. Okay, so apparently to Rabbi Shmuley, Candace is never right. I mean, just cannot be right. It's kind of sad how cannot right she can't be. I mean, it just don't make no sense. Like, first off, she didn't cut him off. And a few times she did cut him off, he was like, oh, no. But for some reason, this man can just talk, cut other people off, and he just acted a complete ass on television. Well, not even television, but all over YouTube pretty much. Because I don't think Piers Morgan on television. Let me see here. Bro, so over 700,000 people saw this man acting ass pretty much. Oh, man. Actually, even worse, over 800,000 people saw this man acting ass because over 100,000 people have viewed this stream. So appreciate y'all, man. Love y'all for that one. Ain't that crazy? But like I said, though, if you want to send any closing comments or anything like that, man, I appreciate the support. Meanwhile, I'm probably about to go ahead and head this out. I'm about to shout out the sponsors of today's show, man, because, you know, we can't do it without y'all, man. We appreciate y'all. So let's see, man. Shout out Jake Peters, man. We appreciate the support, bro. Jake Peters done came in. Malachi, big dog. We appreciate you. Man, Jake Peters again. Of course, we got Malachi. The Gray Man. Hey, that's a new one, bro. The Gray Man, that's a new guy who started watching. I appreciate you for tuning in. Man, shout out Jake Peters. He basically put the show on his back. Oh, yeah, Sarah Hamad. Yeah, Sarah Hamad. So shout out to her because she started off the whole October 7th, started naming out all the dates and stuff. Like, yeah, this is when this happened. That's when this happened. I was like, okay. You know your stuff. You know your stuff, young lady. And shout out Greg for starting it off with my last chat messages, which is pretty funny. I'll give it to him. I'll give it to him on that one. But, man, I appreciate y'all for tuning in, man, because this is Set with S.E.T and Comedian. I'm about to head out on this one. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Man, peace. I'll catch you on the next one.